Well, once again, Tim Harvey and Ben Edwards will be our commentators for the championship. And Ben, what excites you most of all about the season to come?
Well, Steve, I think it's just the unpredictability of it, really. We just don't know who's going to go out there and win races, let alone win the championship. There's no way of predicting who's going to come out on top.
The unknown quantity at the moment, pre-season, Tim, is exactly how these diesel Seats are going to go.
Well, it's a brand new thing for the British Touring Car Championship, a turbo diesel car. It has proven itself at World Championship level, though, with victories already. But all the data that the team have from their victories in previous season goes out of the window. It's a completely new concept for the UK tracks.
And do you agree that the winners this season could come from just about anywhere? The independents are so strong, aren't they?
Very much so, but the independents are every bit as good at teams as the works teams. We've got West Surrey Racing, Dynamics. They're all very much works team calibre, and I confidently predict that there'll be more race winners this year than ever before.
And of course the BMW's strong in pre-season testing and in qualifying as well. They've set the standard so far, haven't they?
They have, but I love the contrast between the rear-wheel drive BMW and the front-wheel drive, just about everything else. The Lexus is rear-wheel drive, but you know, you've got contrast there, and in some circuits I think they'll suit the rear-wheel drive cars. Other tracks perhaps the front-wheel drive cars will have the advantage.
What is the task facing the teams as the season gets underway? No penalty ballast to start the season off, so it really is a blank sheet of paper, isn't it?
Absolutely. This first meeting, the first race and qualifying, is the only time the cars race on their base weights. From now on there'll be success ballots added, and that'll change the conjecture of the championship and how the cars line up. But the main thing is the teams have got to keep finishing races. It's always been about consistency. There might be 30 races, but the champion is going to be the most consistent winning driver.
Such a fantastic season last season. Are we in for pretty much the same, you feel?
I think so. Traditionally the championship goes down to the wire, and with this many contenders it's bound to do so again in 2008.
And the one man we haven't mentioned, defending champion Fabrizio Giovanardi, how tough is it going to be for him?
It's not going to be easy, and I think even he knows it might not be about winning all the races or many races. He knows he's got to keep finishing consistently up there. That's the way to win another title.
But it's such a strong lineup there at VX Racing. We've got Giovanardi, the defending champion, joined now by Matt Neal, two drivers who have won the last 3 championships between them, and Ben has been talking to the new Vauxhall teammates.
Things have changed a little bit this year, gentlemen, because you're not racing against each other in different teams, you're racing against each other in the same team. So Matt, now you've made the switch, you've gone from family-run team to join Vauxhall. How did that come about?
VX Racing made me a great offer and the opportunity to come and race alongside Fabrizio, and you know, he is renowned as one of the world's best, never mind the best in Britain, so it was a new challenge for me.
You're coming back to a team, I know you've worked with some of the guys before, but isn't there some fear that it is Fabrizio's team? Are you going to find your place in it?
That's part of the challenge, isn't it? You know, sometimes if you stay in something long enough you can get a little bit stale, you need a bit of fresh impetus. I mean, I was very lucky, everything at Dynamics Team Halfords was born around me, so I'm a bit sort of their version of Fabrizio.
Fabrizio, how do you feel about having Matt joining the team, and what was your first reaction when you learnt the news?
I'm jealous because he has got 2 titles. No, I'm joking. I think it's a good choice for Vauxhall because I think they are concentrated on win the manufacturer championship, so I want to work with them to make the best results, and in the end we will see.
Is it important to be friends with your teammate or not so
Yeah,
much?
I think so. I can divide the two in 2 parts, the life in racing. So I think it's stupid to make any politics fight against your teammate, because if you do that because you are scared about your teammate. I'm not scared. I think he is not scared. So racing is different, the competition is different. So no, I think we'll be good.
And what about driving the Vectra? You've had a little bit of opportunity to do that, but obviously you're having to adapt to that. What are your first impressions of the car?
I was shocked actually, because considering the Vauxhall and the Honda are built to a very tight set of regulations, they are completely different cars to drive. You know, the Honda's got its plus points, the Vectra got its plus points, and they seem to get to point where they're very equal in the end.
Are you nervous about the diesel in the Seat? Do you think that's going to change things a lot in British touring cars this year?
You see my face nervous?
I think there's so many quick cars and quick driver combinations out there that there's going to be more people at the sharp end finishing on the podium. So that, in almost one respect, might make it easier to win a championship for whoever does well and is consistent and, you know, stays at the front.
How special is it to win the British touring car title? You've both done it. And how special would it be to win it in its 50th year? To you, Matt, first.
I suppose being British myself, you know, it's even more special for me. It was something I'd never dreamt I'd thought I'd do. And then you look at the trophy and you see the names. engraved on the trophy, and the great names in racing, and it's very special to see your name alongside them.
And Fabrizio?
I will give you this answer in the end.
Well, in qualifying yesterday, Matt Jackson was fastest, just as he has been in much of the pre-season testing. So the dealer team BMW will start on pole position for this opening race of the season. The champion Giovinardi is alongside him in the Vauxhall. Then Turkington and Plato on row 2, BMW and Seat. Tom Onslow Cole qualifying his Vauxhall on row 3 with Darren Turner. Further down the field, Matt Neal back on row 5 on his return to Vauxhall. And Andrew Jordan now qualified his father Mike. He'll start on row 7 in the Honda Integra. Let's join Janie a little bit further back down this grid.
Well, I'm here on the grid with Steve Neal. Now, Steve, it's been about 5 years since you were last partnered with your son on a professional basis. It must be very strange for you now.
Yeah, it is a pretty weird sensation, I must admit. Although he's been with Vauxhall before, as you probably know, and so we raced against him in those days, but never quite so competitively, I don't think. Both Honda and Vauxhall have won the championship, and nothing else has ever won the championship, and so it's a real needle match.
How involved were you with his decision to move over?
I wanted him to make him feel at ease that it wasn't a decision that I think he should really worry about us with. It's a personal one for him, and told him straight off that I was okay with it, whatever he wanted to do. So that was the important thing, wasn't it? You know.
For sure. Now you've got Gordon stepping up to team leader. What are your expectations of him?
Well, I've got expectations of both the boys. They're both equally as fast. Tom's got a lot of experience. Gordon's got a couple of years under his belt with us, so he knows how we operate. Tom's learning how we operate, but he's slotted in really well, and I think both of them are going to be damn quick, you know.
And Tom's like your new adoptive son then, is he? Now Matt's gone?
Yeah, well, Chili's trying to pass him over. That's his dad. Yeah, he'd love to get rid of him, I think.
Talk to us a little bit about the dynamics of the team. Is it easier or harder when you're not working with a family member?
Probably a little more difficult because we have a lot of day-to-day contact. We both work in the same sort of arena ourselves in the wheel business, so we do see each other a lot. And he comes around with his kids on a weekend, so yeah. But that still happens.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, anytime.
So the start of the 51st year of the HIQ MSA British Touring Car Championship is virtually upon us. We'll have round 1 for you next. Welcome back to Brands Hatch ahead of round 1 of the HIQ British Touring Car Championship. Your commentary team, former champion Tim Harvey, alongside our commentator Ben Edwards.
25 cars on the grid beginning to move away on the first formation lap of the season here at Brands Hatch, and it's the white BMW of Matt Jackson that leads the field away from the reigning champion Fabrizio Giovinardi. Now then, Tim, what about these conditions? Looks as though it could be tricky.
Well, it's drier than it was in practice, but of course it's treacherous just slightly offline. So although some sections of the track are dry virtually across the road, and particularly along the start-finish straight, once you get down into Druids and Graham Hill, it's very slippery offline. And if we get side-by-side racing, there you see coming down the hill from Druids, if you get offline there, it could be very tricky.
Right, well, let's see how they line up on the grid for this one then. It is Matt Jackson, his first ever pole position, a superb effort in qualifying, but he's got the reigning champion, Fabrizio Giovinardi, in the Vauxhall right alongside. Colin Turkington, who was fast here last year many times in the Team RAC BMW, starts third. And there's Jason Plato, the man who narrowly lost the title last year in the diesel-powered Seat. He's fourth on the grid, fifth on the grid. Tom Onslow Cole, new at VX Racing for this year, and alongside in the second of the Seat, the second diesel, it's Darren Turner. Next up is Gordon Shedden, now effectively team leader at Team Halford, and alongside him the best of the rookies, the best of the men making their debut here today. That's Stephen Kane in the Motorbase BMW. Tom Chilton has also shifted teams this year. He's at Team Halford, he's ninth on the grid, and there's Matt Neal, Giovinardi's teammate, but qualifying didn't go well. He starts down in 10th, 11th on the grid. Another man making his debut, Stephen Jelly at Team RAC, and Matt Allison alongside him. Well, he knows the series, but he's in a new car, the Chevrolet Lacetti. Behind them, we've got Rob Collard and Andrew Jordan. Rob in the Motorbase BMW. Andrew Jordan also making his debut. It's the John Guest Racing Honda Integra. Behind them, we've got Adam Jones and the Team Air-Cooled Seat that was only arrived here at Brands this week. His first time out was an official session here. Chris Stockton's alongside in the BTCC Racing Lexus. Behind those guys, it's Mike Jordan, father of Andrew. We've got the father and son team both on the grid. John George, he's 18th on the grid in his TH Motorsport Honda Integra. Towards the back of the grid, we've got Aircut And Harry Volkard, he's making his BTCC debut as well in the second of the Chevrolets, starting back on row 10 of the grid. And towards the back, Stuart Oliver, 7 times British truck racing champion. He starts 21st. The MG of Jason Hughes, about to be pensioned into retirement, but he is here this weekend. And then at the back, Alan Taylor in 23rd place. Martin Bell in 24th place, having switched from a BMW to a Vauxhall Astra for this year. And last man on the grid is another new boy. That is Michael Doyle. That's how the 25 cars then ready to line up for this first race.
A fantastic grid of cars in this, the 50th anniversary of the BTCC Championship, which started off here in 1958 at Brands Hatch, so its spiritual home, and never have I seen a field of cars with so many potential winners.
It's fantastic to see, isn't it? The top 14 cars covered by 1 second in qualifying yesterday. 6 drivers are making their British Touring Car debut. There are 7 makes of car represented on the grid, and there are 3 past or present Touring Car champions on that grid. But starting from pole position, the man who made such an impressive debut last year, Matt Jackson, very fast, but remember, also caused an accident, a big accident, one of the biggest accidents of the year here last year. Let's hope nothing like that happens here today. He's got the pole position, he starts up front, now he's got to try and convert that into race victory. Remember, it's Giovanardi alongside him on the front row of that grid, and the reigning champion has so much ability. Always expect something special from him. Here we go. Lights go out, away we go, and it's not a good start from Giovanardi. It's a good start from Colin Turkington in the Team RAC BMW. Matt Jackson gets away well from pole, and Jason Plato up into 3rd place already, getting straight past Giovanardi. And those 2 campaigners from last year are going wheel to wheel immediately. They're side by side, and Giovanardi's trying to get it back.
Yeah, Giovanardi's usually a great starter, but he's having to fight it out with his old nemesis Plato from the very first corner, while the 2 BMWs of Jackson and Turkington streak off into a gap, a sizable gap on this first lap.
One of the cars ended in the gravel, half in the gravel there, but got going again. That was Andy Jordan, I think, who lost out. Oh, we've got a spinner towards the back, and I think it's Martin Bell, quite possibly, in the one of the Arcus. No, it's the Aircut in the second of the Arcus cars, and so Aircut Kazilimark has lost it, but he will be able to rejoin. So Matt Jackson made a perfect start from pole position, and he's already opened up a little bit of a gap over Colin Turkington in second, Fabrizio Giovanardi, Jason Plato, but some good battles going on further back. Stephen Kane, Rob Collard in there as well, all trying to get past Matt Neal.
Yeah, Stephen Kane and his teammate Rob Collard in the 2 motor-based BMWs already up behind previous champion Matt Neal, struggling a little bit in this first race with his new ride in the Vauxhall, but he will come through, we know, but he only qualified 10th.
That's right, so Matt Nielsen, well, Turkington's off from second place, man, off on the grass. That's out of Graham Hill Bend, and that means Giovanardi now will move to 2nd place. That's an unusual error from Colin Turkington. That means Giovanardi 2nd, Plato 3rd, Darren Turner 4th. The 2 diesel Seats, they're the yellow and green cars. They're going very well on their debut. Remember, we haven't seen a manufacturer run diesel power. Another Vauxhall then of Tom Onslow Cole. Then the first of the Team Halford Hondas, that's Gordon Shedden. And remember, right behind him, his new teammate for this year, Tom Chilton. He's moved from Vauxhall to join that team, but Stuart Oliver, the truck champion, well, he's in trouble on his first touring car race.
Yeah, well, perhaps not the reliability he'd like for. We hope that the Lexuses would have better reliability this year. They've certainly shown a bit better pace, but Stuart not having the debut that he would have liked.
So there are the 2 BMWs of the motor-based team. It's a local-based team, and they were running Seat Toledos last year, but the big change the winter, they bought these 2 BMWs, and they're running up there in the top 10, 9th and 10th at the moment. So Giovanardi still in second. Let's see what happened a moment ago. Alan Taylor, I think that is. Oh, and he just made contact. That could well have been Martin Bell that he collided with there, but I think both have rejoined. They're both still in this race.
Matt Jackson is absolutely wringing the neck of that BMW. He's using every inch of road. It's got some new colours on the car. It's the BMW Dealer Team UK car sponsored by Accident Exchange, but he's in a single car team as he was last year, but a lot of help with that from the factory RBM team that run Andy Prio, whose car that was last year. So a really professional effort going on there.
He's making the most of it. Let's see what's going on here. Mike and Jordan battling with Stephen Jelly. This was up through clearways, and Jelly runs wide, gets on the grass, visits the gravel, just about manages to keep his foot in and rejoins the fray. Stephen Jelly, first ever touring car race. He comes out of single-seater racing.
Yeah, welcome to touring cars. There's an old hand in Mike Jordan giving a new guy into touring cars a little lesson there in how it works. Get up the inside and ease the guy wide.
Matt Neal still not really making that much progress. He's down there in 8th place. He's in the red and white Vauxhall now. We've got to get used to the change of colours for Matt Neal. So he's in the 3rd of the works Vauxhalls, but we're a little on board. Tom Chilton here just ahead of Matt Neal, and Tom loves this Brands Hatch Indy circuit, but at the moment he's following the rear bumper of his own teammate Gordon Shedden. Tom has moved over to this Team Halfords for the season, really enjoying himself in testing, getting used to the feel of the car, and I know he feels very, very confident that he can put in some good results. At the moment he's in 7th. There we are, the 2 teammates. Gordon Shedden 6th, the race winner last year, and right behind him there is Tom Chilton. It's been a couple of years since Tom last won a race.
Well, lap time's very similar, but a man who's just set the fastest lap of the race is Colin Turkington, who we went off earlier, and then we have a big slide there.
Shedden running very wide, and it allows Tom Chilton through. That's an unusual mistake too.
Yeah, again, just got out a little bit too wide, just off the perfect dry line, and the front-wheel drive car with more grip at the front. Here he comes, in a bit too fast, runs out a bit wide, they're still on the brakes, and the rear tyre just slides. He has no option but to turn into the slide and run wide.
Here we are, another look at it from on board Tom Chilton's car, and Tom was on the inside, saw it beginning to happen, made sure he got tight into the curb there and took advantage. So that puts Chilton up into 7th place now. Shedden back, no, in fact, into 6th place now. Chilton 6th, Shedden into 7th place. And there is our race leader though, Matt Jackson. Well, he was very impressive last season on his way to a couple of victories on his debut season. There we are, Tim, riding on board with him.
Yeah, on board, watch his gear changes. He has the 5-speed gearbox, so not a sequential. So he has to go across the gate. They're just about to do it there from 4th to 5th, but only 5-speed, but no disadvantage. They decide that it's better to have a 5-speed gearbox than a 6-speed and carry the extra 30 kilos of lead, which the motor-based team have to do.
That's right, if you run with a sequential gearbox. So there's been a change there. Matt Neal has been passed by Stephen Kane. Just noticed that. So Matt Neal has gone back down to 9th. Stephen Kane in the white and red BMW there has got past. And this is where it happened. It was out of Druids.
Yeah, he did. He got up the inside there and gave an old stager in Matt Neal a bit of a push wide. Matt had a problem in practice when he broke his front splitter, but nevertheless, you wouldn't expect to see him going backwards.
Stephen Kane making his debut, young Northern Irishman who has had a lot of success in single-seater racing over the years, and then Tim, you raced against him in the Porsche Carrera Cup last year, and now he's taking his turn in British touring cars.
Yeah, great driver, really plucky young guy, lots and lots of natural talent. Perhaps his single-seater career never quite took off the way it should have done, but he's certainly adapted to saloons, had a year in Porsches last year, so he knows what it's like to drive with a big body shell around him. He knows the rough and tumble of that type of racing, and he's adapting very well to his BMW.
Yeah, so that's Stephen Kane in 8th place, but you're watching the Seats at the moment, and there ahead of them is Giovanardi. We're on board with Jason Plato here. That's Darren Turner, his own teammate. Now listen to this. Let's just listen a moment to this diesel engine. It's a very quiet engine. You barely hear anything.
Absolutely silent, just a whisper, and very unusual for the drivers to get used to. Not only the sound of it, but the narrow rev range, the extra weight that the diesel carries on its front axle, and that's Turkington off again.
Same place. He's gone off for Graham Hillbend again. Well, I don't know what's going on here for Colin Turkington. That really is a surprise. Maybe there's some sort of problem, but that's twice he's been off now. The Seat's using the extra bit of road on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend. That's not too much of a problem. And Jason Plato still holds on to 3rd. Darren Turner in 4th place. Tom Onslow Cole, an excellent 5th on his debut for Vauxhall. Let's just remind you that for Tom Onslow Cole, it's his first touring car race in a front-wheel drive car, because last year he was driving a BMW. Now he's in one of the VXR Vauxhall Vectras that was so strong last season. There's our race leader then. 3.1 seconds ahead now of reigning champion Fabrizio Giovanardi, then Plato, Turner, and then the second of the Vauxhalls, Tom Onslow Cole, then it's Chilton, Shedden, Stephen Kane comes through, then Matt Neal, and the rest of them just beginning to spread out a little bit. Leading independent is the car leading the race outright, that is Matt Jackson. The next independent is that of Stephen Kane, who's currently running 8th in the motorbase car.
Just remember, this is the only race of the year where you see all the cars running on their minimum base weights. After this race, we'll have success ballast applied. So this is the one race where you see everybody's ultimate outright natural pace. And at the moment, it looks like the BMW has the advantage.
BMW looking very strong here at the moment in the hands of Matt Jackson. We're back on board the Seat of Jason Plato, looking at his teammate Darren Turner. Plato's had many wins here at Brands Hatch, and in fact Seat have always gone well here. Again, you can hear the curb more than you can hear the engine through Surtees. Really, we're all getting used to having diesel power in one of these front-running machines now in British touring cars. A little further back, we've got some battling going on. That looks like Rob Collard under attack from Mike Jordan, who nips through on the inside.
Yeah, Rob had a similar moment to Turkington down at Graham Hill and ran wide, and both Matt Allison and Jordan slipped through.
So yes, he's lost a couple of places. He was 10th last time around. Let's see where he comes through this time. Adam Jones up to 10th, Matt Allison now 11th, Mike Jordan into 12th, and Rob Collard has dropped 4 places effectively on that lap. He's down in 13th now.
Yeah, just back to Turkington. Very unusual to see him go off. He's normally so controlled, so calm in the car, almost to the point of being asleep. And his team have actually tried to fire him up a little bit over the winter. Maybe it's not working for him, but look, we've got rain on the screen.
Yeah, this could be exciting. We're only half distance in the first race of the day here at Brands Hatch, and there's rain on the screen of Tom Chilton's Honda, and this could make life very exciting. They're all on slick racing tyres. The track had a good dry line when they started this race, but life could be getting difficult out there for them now. And in fact, Matt Jackson could find himself under a bit of pressure. Just depends how the BMW reacts to these conditions. He has managed to put some back markers between himself and his nearest opposition. There is Jackson then, behind him some back markers before you see the red and white car of Fabrizio Giovanardi, and Giovanardi's got to cut his way through here as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see the front-wheel drive cars gain a bit of an advantage if the track does get greasy, because the BMWs require a lot of tyre temperature to make the car work properly. And in qualifying on a drying track, it was the front-wheel drive cars, particularly the Seat Leons and also the Honda Civics, the Dynamics cars, that were very, very fast until the last few minutes of qualifying when the track dried enough for it to come to the BMW. So let's watch what happens with the turbo diesel Leons and also with the Honda Civics.
Well, here comes the Seat of Plato, getting past on the inside there as they go through Paddock Hill Bend, just going past Erkut Kızılırmak. And so does Darren Turner, just getting past that next little group. He all gets a bit bunched up now as they find their way through the back markers, but Matt Jackson managed to maintain his advantage. Alan Taylor with his rear bumper flapping away there on the Honda Integra. Hopefully that won't cause any problem. We're back on board with Jason Plato, and he's got himself through Graham Hill Bend. Tom Onslow Cole has run on the grass in the background there, trying to get past the back marker, and has been passed by Tom Chilton. So there's been a change behind. Tom Chilton has now taken 5th from Tom Onslow Cole.
Yeah, Chilton's on a charge, I did say so. Watch him, see if he can catch up with those 2 Seat Leons in front of him. But he loves this place, Chilton does. He's had some good results here. His very first ever touring car race, he podiumed here. Treacherous on slicks, but it's interesting. The front-wheel drive cars are definitely coming into their own. Giovanardi, look, he's definitely catching Jackson.
Yeah, it was 1.9 seconds. The gap is down to 1.1 seconds. He gained nearly a second on that last lap to Giovanardi. There's the race leader. Now he's taken a wide line on purpose at Paddock Hill Bend, looking for more grip, looking for traction. But Matt Jackson is being caught by one of the most successful touring car drivers ever. 7 times a title winner, won the British Championship last year, and he's now sensed a chance here. Here's Matt Neal making a move on Stephen Kane at Clearways.
Yeah, lots more grip for the front-wheel drive car. Stephen Kane powerless to defend against that, and it won't be long, I don't think. Well, Turkington's been in the pits. I've seen Turkington come out of the pits. Has he gone in and put wets on and taken a gamble on this? I don't know. Maybe he's put wets on in the hope it's going to absolutely bucket down. I don't think it is. I think it's going to carry on as a steady drizzle, but he's taken a big gamble.
Yeah, if anything, the rain has eased off looking out of our window than it was just a few moments ago, so it's very, very changeable. Cross the line, the gap down to 0.8 of a second. There's a black and orange flag for number 32. That'll be Alan Taylor because of his flapping bumper, so he'll have to come in the pits and have that bumper removed, but look how close the two leaders are now. The white BMW there and the red and white Vauxhall. There's little to choose between them. Michael Doyle getting out of their way. Good job by the rookie driver, not interfering at all with this battle up front.
And I'll tell you what, Darren Turner's got ideas to get past Plato. In these conditions, Turner does look a bit quicker. Look at that, he's right up behind Plato. Well, it's too early in the season for team orders, so they're going to have to fight it out.
There they are. Look again at Giovanardi. We're back with Plato. That's how close Turner is, as you said, and he's actually having a little look up the inside. Careful, boys. Don't want to upset things in the first race of the year. Your two teammates, they stick together this year. There was some question mark as to what they would do with the driver lineup at SEAT, but it's remained exactly the same, and Plato's having to work hard here to hold on to third.
Well, Turner was perhaps the unluckiest man out there last year and didn't get the results he wanted. He wants to start off this year as he means to go on. Look, he's putting Plato under enormous pressure here, and he's clearly the faster car. And talking of pressure, Giovanardi.
Yeah, right now with the race leader, Matt Jackson. Here we are, battle. Oh, and they've hit each other a little bit through Graham Hill Bend, a little bit of contact, and they get away with it. Turner loses out as a result, and in fact could be under pressure from Tom Chilton behind. Meanwhile, battle for the lead here. Here comes Fabrizio Giovanardi at the inside. What a beautiful manoeuvre. Jackson just a bit wide. Giovanardi crossed up sideways and slid through.
Absolute class. This man's a joy to watch. He came into this championship 2 years ago, learned the British Series, did a brilliant job last year, pure class, and as all of his teammates are finding out, there's something a little bit special about Fabrizio Giovanardi.
That was absolutely stunning, and Matt Jackson had nothing he could do about that, and it's purely down to the conditions and the way they've changed. Take a look at it.
He sets him up, he's quicker through the preceding corner, gets on the inside, drags the brake a little bit late, just a bit of a drift, and perfectly done.
And Matt Jackson had just made a little mistake on the braking, which meant he went in a bit wide, so that gave the space. Look, this is the view. Watch from on board Jackson. He does get into a bit of a slide here, and then there's no way of cutting into the corner.
No, we're back, and Jackson did a good job actually to leave some room there. You could see what was happening, and he left a little bit of room and didn't have contact. Sensible driving.
Now look how Tom Chilton has caught the two SEAT. So Turner's been trying to get past Plato, but in the meantime here, Tom Chilton, in his first race in a Team Halford's Honda, the orange car, the third of those three cars across the line, he's caught them. Meanwhile behind, we've got the two Vauxhalls of Tom Onslow Cole and Matt Neal. Remember, there are three Works Vauxhalls in this race. There's the lead car, flashing his light, Giovanardi, as he comes up behind some of the back markers, because he's not pulled away that much from Matt Jackson, and the track is perhaps beginning to dry again.
Yeah, well, we've got 4 more laps to go, and as you say, the track is drying, so it's not over yet for Matt Jackson, definitely. As we say, in the drier conditions, his car is a bit more competitive than in the slightly damper conditions. He'll be building some temperature in his tyres and hoping for a late attack on Giovanardi.
So out of clearways they come, and Giovanardi's just opened that gap up a little bit then again. It seems to be some areas of the circuit where the Vauxhall is stronger, and then Matt Jackson catches again. This is on board with Tom Chilton. Look how close he is now to the SEAT of Darren Turner. The two SEATs up ahead, but only by a little margin here from Tom Chilton. And into Paddock Hill Bend, the plunging right-hander, one of the finest corners anywhere in the world, down into the compression, back up the hill again. Still not enough space unless he has a gamble here. Not prepared to risk it yet.
Yeah, very interesting. Chilton is really enjoying this Honda Civic. Of course, he started his career with Arena in the old shape Honda Civic. He's loving getting back into this slightly shorter wheelbase, a bit more twitchy, more front-endy car. He loves it.
And Matt Neal's not far behind him in the Vauxhalls. And Matt Neal up into 6th, Gordon Shedden's in 7th, Tom Onslow Cole has dropped to 8th, Stephen Kane is in 9th place, but this is the closest battle. Look at Tom Chilton and Matt Neal right behind him as well. Nothing to choose. We've got a SEAT, then the Honda, and then the Vauxhall. They're all absolutely identical for pace.
Yeah, and of course Matt Neal and Chilton have swapped seats. Matt Neal leaving the family-run team. He's had a difficult winter, not poking his nose into the workshop, not talking to his own father about what's going on in the race team, and now he finds himself behind his own car from last year.
And they're dealing with cars as well. Colin Turkington was that moving out of the way. Fabrizio Giovanardi still leading, but look at Matt Jackson in the BMW. He's caught right up again. So we've still got a race on here, and Matt Jackson has not given up the prospects of winning the opening encounter of the season. There are certainly some areas on track where it's dried off a bit, where the BMW has the edge, but watch them through clearways. Getting on the power, front-wheel drive, Vauxhall up ahead versus rear-wheel drive BMW out of clearways, building up the speed, 125 miles an hour here as they cross the line. hard on the brakes into Paddock Hill Bend just very briefly, and Giovanardi just manages to maintain that 1 or 2 car length gap over Matt Jackson. Still can't afford the tiniest mistake here though, and there are still other back markers to pass, so still lots to focus on, just under 2 laps to go.
Yeah, ever so close. Here we go, Matt Neal on Tom Chilton. A typical Matt Neal move, that right up the inside. Chilton gets pushed wide onto the greasy stuff, and through goes Shedden and Onslow Cole.
Yeah, and maybe even Stephen Kane, because he was right in the group as well. Race leader Giovanardi will be coming around this time to go on to the final lap. Can he do enough to stay in front of Jackson, or will Jackson put in a last-minute lunge? That BMW likes it when it's drier, and it has dried up again in this race. What a race of changing conditions this has been. Cross the line, onto the final lap then. Giovanardi still just with the edge over Jackson.
Yeah, everything to play for on this final lap. Jackson will be trying to just put Giovanardi under pressure, see if he can make a mistake. I doubt very much that will happen, but a great drive by both of these two guys.
Good stuff, through the hairpin they come then. There is a car of John George a little ahead of them. You just see the red Honda Integra. Now this could worry Giovanardi, but they may catch him at a point. Yeah, John George actually getting right out of the way. Good driving that from the experienced racer. He just moves out of the way. The battle for the lead can continue, and it's Giovanardi from Matt Jackson as they come up to the final corner into clearways. No mistakes this time from the reigning champion, and surely Fabrizio Giovanardi is going to win the opening encounter of the 2008 season. Matt Jackson drove beautifully, but it's Fabrizio Giovanardi who wins for Vauxhall. Matt Jackson takes second place in the BMW. I think it's going to be Jason Plato home in 3rd position. Across the line he comes, and Darren Turner in 4th. Then Matt Neal, good result for Matt Neal. He started in 10th, finished in 5th place ahead of Gordon Shedden and Tom Onslow Cole, with Stephen Kane in 8th, and Tom Chilton, who ran such a strong race until that incident between himself and Matt Neal. He finished down in 9th place, just ahead of Adam Jones. Well, that was a tremendous dice there. There is the reigning champion and the man who has won race 1 of 30.
What a great way to do start your defence of the title with a win. He won here back in August, the first 2 races in fact, so he does love this place now, and he'll be very happy with that start to the year. But as will Matt Jackson, his debut pole and a 2nd place as well. Not too much accident damage in that race, so that's good. Chilton, I think, a bit aggrieved maybe with Matt Neal, but the two Seats also having contact as well, so a frosty reception probably in that garage.
Well, that's the part of touring car racing, isn't it? Let's just confirm that result then. Giovanardi the winner for VX Racing by just 0.2 of a second from Matt Jackson. Jason Plato took 3rd on the diesel debut for Seat, with his teammate Darren Turner right behind. In 5th, Matt Neal. Gordon Shedden finished in 6th in the Team Halfords car ahead of Tom Onslow Cole. Stephen Kane on his debut finished a very creditable 8th ahead of Tom Chilton in 9th, and Adam Jones in 10th place.
So a great 2008 touring car season underway in exciting fashion at Brands Hatch. Matt Jackson led off the start line, but Giovanardi was past him on lap 18 as track conditions changed. A winning start then for the defending champion, who's now talking with Janie.
Fabrizio, congratulations. I can see the steam coming off your head there. Looks like that was a hot race.
Yeah, inside the car was very hot race. Well done, thank you. It was a hot race, different condition. We start with the dry. It was very, very strong. I couldn't catch him. When I see some rain is coming, I say I can make it. So just concentration is done.
Matt, rookie of the year last year, fastest in testing. You got pole, and it looked like you were going to have the win as well.
It was going to be a dream, wasn't it? But no, there you go. It's one of those things. Obviously, it rained halfway through, and being rear-wheel drive, it hurts us more, I think, than it does in the front-wheel drive. At the end of the day, I think it's 3 points difference. We got a point for fastest lap. It's a long championship. You know, there's 29 rounds to go. Their aim coming in here today was obviously to take away 3 solid results. That's the first part done, so we can tick that one off the list. And it's really moving forward into race 2.
Jason, congratulations, first podium of the year.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, good result for the team. I mean, we've had a tricky winter in that we're very late with our diesel program, and I think prior to this race we only had like 120 miles worth of testing. So really good, really. You know, to get on the podium first time out with the diesel is a great result, and testament to the hard work the guys have put in back at the workshops.
Now, you had a bit of a clash with your teammate. Talk us through that.
Nothing really to talk about. I was looking where I was going, and I think he drove in the back of me. I mean, until we have a look at what went on, it'd be unfair for me to pass comment at this stage.
Just a little cheeky punt.
A little love kiss, I would think.
at Brands Hatch. Rain played a big part in deciding the outcome of the opening round of the High Q British Touring Car Championship. At the moment it's dry with at least some blue sky above the circuit, but what does round two have in store? We're back with Tim Harvey and Ben Edwards.
Thank you very much, Steve. Well, we're looking forward to, as you say, a much drier race this time, Tim. But the key thing is we've now got ballast on board these cars. The touring car rules mean that the winner from the first race now carries 45 kilograms of lead.
Yeah, that's right, a dry track, and Giovanardi, an expert in carrying ballast. He did it last time in August, won both the first two races, so he can do it.
So here's the grid. Giovanardi and Jackson on the front row, then Plato and Turner in the Seats, followed by Matt Neal and Gordon Shedden on row number 3 of the grid. Behind them it's Tom Onslow-Cole in another Vauxhall, then Stephen Kane in the BMW, Tom Chilton, Adam Jones, Matt Allison and Rob Collard complete the top 12. Behind them Mike Jordan and Stephen Jelly, then Andy Jordan with Jason Hughes alongside. So father and son are pretty close together on the grid. Then it's John George and Harry Volkard. Behind them, it's Ericott and Colin Turkington with lots to do from 20th. Alan Taylor and Michael Doyle, then Chris Stockton and Martin Bell. And then at the back of the grid this time is Stuart Oliver in the BTC Racing Lexus. So that's how they line up for the start of this one. We're riding on board here with Fabrizio Giovanardi. He starts from pole position, but how will the Vauxhall perform on this dry track? We saw how quick Matt Jackson was earlier on before it rained. And remember, that rear-wheel drive BMW, the white car up on the outside there, should have the advantage at the start. Rear-wheel drive is at an advantage when they get away.
Yes, Giovanardi is always a really good starter, but that's in a front-wheel drive car. It's all dry now across the track. Jackson with, some would say, the better side of the track to start on, and rear-wheel drive should get away first.
Well, let's see if it happens. The two diesels are behind them, of course, of Jason Plato and Darren Turner. And then the next of the Vauxhalls is Matt Neal, all set to go racing around the Brands Hatch Indy circuit once again here. Engine revs beginning to rise. We're all set to go. Lights are on. Lights out. Away we go. And it is a good start from Giovanardi. Here comes Jackson with the BMW. It's a bit more bunched up behind with the Seat of Jason Plato. Turner and a great start by Gordon Shedden there. Gordon Shedden may well have taken third. I think he has, yeah. Fantastic start by the Scot in the Team Alpha Tonda up into third place. But up front it's Giovanardi leading from Jackson.
All safely through Paddock-Hill Bend this time, and Giovanardi did get that excellent start we knew he was capable of on a dry track, but he's under pressure immediately from Jackson.
Down the hill through Graham Hill Bend, and you're right, Jackson is pushing all the way along the back straight. Off wide's gone Turner, but he's back on track, and he just slots back in behind his teammate Jason Plato. So far so good. Top three up into clearways. Slight lock up on the brakes. Giovanardi in the Vauxhall. Then Jackson on board. Jackson in the BMW. He led that race earlier on. He had a comfortable lead before the rain came down. He wants to try and take victory in the dry here. Coming around to complete the lap. Giovanardi just ahead with maximum ballast. Jackson in second place.
Well, last year with the West Surrey Racing BMWs, we saw they were slightly susceptible in the first couple of laps to getting their tyres up to temperature. That doesn't appear to be the case with Matt Jackson. He's on it from the word go.
Behind them, Plato and Turner, then Matt Neal, Stephen Kane. There's a bit of a battle going on further back, but Jackson, they're getting very close to the back of the Vauxhall Vectra. Giovanardi might be the reigning champion, but Matt Jackson wants to get past him if possible. Gordon Shedden still in third place. A little bit of an incident behind, a couple of cars just tangling slightly, but I think they've all stayed on track. We're still riding with Jackson. Again, there's that little lock-up from both cars on the brakes. Plato through in fourth position, just easing away from his own teammate Darren Turner. Behind him is Matt Neal and then Stephen Kane.
Yeah, I'm hoping that sitting on the grid, I noticed that Mike Jordan was slightly out of position. I hope he doesn't get a drive-through penalty. It was way back on the grid, but he looked to be out of position.
Well, that's something we'll watch for. Giovanardi controls things at the moment, but there's Jackson bobbing about in his mirrors. The youngster, Matt Jackson, who burst onto the British touring car scene last year. He's driving a car that was formerly driven by Andy Prio, the world touring car champion. Let's just take a look at that start once again there, Tim.
Well, you couldn't see Mike Jordan in the background, but at the front is Giovanardi. Gets a perfect getaway, not too much wheel spin, holds the inside line, perfect start for him, and Shedden also quickly away.
Yeah, that was a great start by Gordon Shedden, and that was the view off the grid as they got away. We've often seen incidents on the line here getting away off the grid, but actually that was all very clean. Rob Collard had a good start in his BMW, and Collard is currently running 11th, just ahead of Stephen Jelly in 12th place. Back with the leaders though, and it is Fabrizio Giovanardi in control. You know, he won the first two races of the day here in August last year, and he's on target at the moment to repeat that feat.
He is, but I just get the impression that the weight is having a little bit of an effect now, because if you look at the gaps behind him, they're all very close.
That's absolutely right. We're on board with Jason Plato now, tucked in behind Gordon Shedden in the Team Halfords Honda. So we've got a Vauxhall leading, a BMW in second place, a Honda in third, a Seat in fourth place. 4 different makes of car in the top 4 places. That's how competitive touring cars is this year. Jackson was a touch wide turning in there in the white BMW, and that might give Gordon Shedden a run.
Yeah, he just locked up the right front wheel, slid wide, missed the apex by about 3 feet. But the Jackson car is very quick on the straight. And look at the diesel catching up behind the Honda there.
Yeah.
That shows you that power we've been talking about on the diesel turbo.
Absolutely, riding with Jason Plato. Again, it's that rather quiet, hushed noise of the turbo diesel, but it's very rapid. There is Plato heading up through its hairpin. Darren Turner still behind him, his teammate backing him up well. And then Matt Neal in the second of the Vauxhalls. He's running in 6th place. Stephen Kane doing another fantastic job for the local motor-based team at their first outing with the BMW. Stephen Kane's first ever touring car meeting. He's running in a strong 7th place.
Yeah, he's in a BX sandwich, actually. He's right between Matt Neal and Tom Onslow-Cole. There he is. There. Well, actually, it looks like Tom Onslow-Cole's gone through.
Yeah, I think he might just have nicked past there. Tom Onslow-Cole has gained 7. Stephen Kane and the other BMW's dropped back 1. He's then being chased by Tom Chilton. Adam Jones further back. Then we've got this little group of Collard in the middle there, who's been passed by Colin Turkington, I think, has moved up. Yeah, Colin Turkington has moved up from his rather poorly on and off goes Collard.
Now, I just saw the start of that. I think that was Turkington, who was behind Collard and level with Mike Jordan. Here we go, and I think that if you watch, yeah, just to touch there, similar to an incident we had last year, but Turkington just ran into the back of him.
So it was a misjudgment under braking by the looks of things, and it's Collard who's ended up in the gravel trap as a result. Ooh, there.
Or was it Jelly?
I think that may well have been Jelly.
It was
yes.
Jelly, it was Stephen Jelly, my apologies.
Stephen Jelly, the man making his debut for Team RAC here this weekend. There it is again, Turkington already ahead at that point. And there off went Rob Collard, returning to British Touring Cars for a full programme this year. That's not the way he wanted to return, but he's okay. He's out of the car. We've got yellow flags at that area, and we've got the safety car on circuit. So everybody's going to be bunched up behind the safety car, and that's the first safety car of the season in British Touring Cars.
Yeah, well, it'll be the first of many, I should think, if Alan Gow has his way, but he certainly won't be needing it this year to make the racing exciting. I think that's going to be plenty exciting on its own.
So Giovanardi still has control. This is the start from Tom Chilton's point of view in the second of the Team Halfords cars. Let's just watch what this looks like.
Yeah, the car was just sitting on the rev limiter, wasn't it, with wheel spin, but he seemed to get it hooked up and drove away.
Good start by Collard, though, wasn't it? Who then went round the outside of paddock, which is always a brave thing to do. Then up into the hairpin at Druids. Collard still stayed out wide. But was there contact? No, they kept it clean, just about. Look how close they were.
Oh, a little bit of touching and rubbing there, but nothing too out of control. Just typical first lap touring car action from right on board the front bumper.
That's fantastic. Really good to see how close they run when they're getting away from the grid in particular. And this into clearways. Look at that. He got up the inside. Was there a nudge? Oh, yeah, a bit of touching there.
Yeah, that was another typical first lap, aggressive pass, little bit of contact. You saw the front wheels on Collard's car having to turn left to control the slide, but that was a slide he couldn't control, a tap from the back, and fortunately he didn't get put in the barriers as we saw last year, so that car I'm sure will be out for the third race, but unfortunate end to the second race for Collard.
Yeah, great shame. There is Chilton. He's running 9th. Now, Adam Jones is running 10th, and then Colin Turkington up to 11th from 20th on the grid. So that was a very good opening couple of laps from Colin Turkington, and maybe he can do more from there. We're on board there with Tom Chilton. Chilton just keeping it nice and steady as they follow the safety car around. And we'll just see what's going on out there. We've got a bit of time at the moment. There's Collard, just they can hopefully get that car out of the gravel trap, and then we can get this race resumed once again. But it's obviously going to take another lap or so before we're ready to do that. Well, in the meantime, we've got our onboard radio with Jason Plato, so let's go down and see if we can have a little chat with the man himself. He's currently running in 4th place. This is Ben in the commentary box to Jason. Jason, how are things out there for you at the moment?
Well, hi Ben. Well, I didn't get a very good start, which is a little bit of a shame, but I managed to get Darren back. but I don't know how Gordon got where he is. He's obviously had a cracker. So we're kind of a little bit in stalemate at the moment, where the race isn't really going to anyone at the minute. Tyre wear is a factor for pretty much all of us, a bit more so for me. And we're just going to try and sit tight, see if I can put Gordon under a bit of pressure on the restart, see if I can nibble another place. But it's one of those days, I think.
One of those days, you've got to keep working. Is the tyre wear a factor for you more because of the diesel power, or is that not the reason?
You know, the Seat lay on diesel is heavier across the front axle, and that has an effect on tyre wear. We also got a much more aggressive power delivery, and again, that's something to consider with the tyre wear. But also, I guess the biggest thing is I'm not really, and I think this is for both myself and Darren, I'm not really in a rhythm with the car yet. We've had very little testing, and you know, I need to improve how I drive it to manage the car properly over the course of a race. But we're getting there, making progress, and let's see if we can get on the podium again.
All right, Jason, thanks very much. Early days as yet. So, Jason Plato still running there in 4th place. We're still under safety car conditions at the moment. So, Tim, gives us a chance to look back at that start perhaps once again, because Gordon Shedden, as Jason mentioned, made a brilliant getaway.
Yeah, started 6th on the grid, so on the outside of the track on the 3rd row back, if you watching 3rd car back on the right, gets a great start, lets the car run downhill to gain momentum, then ducks out to the left, having carried a bit more speed, round the outside of Darren Turner perfectly, and slots neatly into 3rd place before he gets to paddock.
That was an absolutely mega start from Gordon Shedden. He'll be delighted with that one. You don't often get a start quite as good as that, do you?
No, it's not easy. These cars have clutches that are really like hair triggers. They're either in or they're out. It's very difficult to control. The throttles are very sensitive. You actually see the drivers sometimes just in the pit lane struggling to pull away cleanly. They're not like road cars, very progressive. So to control the revs and the clutch and the traction, and you're guessing the heat in the tyres, very difficult indeed.
Well, there's Collard's car being pulled out of the way, so hopefully that's on the infield now. You can see that the gravel trap has got a bit ridged as a result of the cars going off into it. Not much time to go and rake it straight, so the other competitors will just have to deal with that. Still the yellow flags of that area, and it's Fabrizio Giovanardi in the Vauxhall who follows the safety car around. Getting a little bit of a pause here just to assess the car, but the lights have just gone off now, so that means as they come around next time around, we will be racing once again, and the race will get underway. We'll add a few laps to the race distance because the safety car has been out there, so there'll still be plenty of time for the likes of Matt Jackson in that white BMW to try and make a move on Giovanardi.
Yeah, the field will close up now. They'll all be trying to anticipate the restart. Drivers have been told they've got to keep up a good gap between them, got to keep up close. They're not allowed to drop back and try and get a run at it. They're all supposed to be equal distance between each other.
So Giovanardi, the veteran of touring car racing and champion in so many different championships around Europe in particular, here the British title holder from last year, now starting his campaign into perfection so far. How's he going to deal with the restart? The safety car comes in and Giovanardi's away. Look at him already. He's opened up about 3 or 4 car lengths. How did that happen?
Well, he dropped Matt Jackson there, didn't he? And Jackson's got Shedden and Plato all over the back of him. Plato challenging at the end of straight, Shedden up the inside. Can he do it?
Gordon Shedden is going to try
and take second. Plato through as well.
Oh, Matt Jackson runs wide and Plato's going to try and take advantage in the Seat. He's up the inside and Matt Jackson's gone from 2nd down to 4th place. He might even lose another one here to Darren Turner. And maybe this is the tyres are not up to temperature and he is struggling a little bit on the restart.
Yeah, he didn't have his tyres up to temperature. He ran wide at paddock and the others just slipped up the inside. Once he got hung up to dry, it was like a NASCAR race. He couldn't get back in line.
Giovanardi's been given a good break as a result of that. Gordon Shedden now up into 2nd place, Jason Plato in 3rd, and now he's under pressure from Matt Jackson, who managed to stop the other Seat coming past him, but now he's really got his work cut out. As a man who was potentially going to go for the win, now he's trying to get himself back into a podium finishing position, and up front Plato having a little look there at getting past Gordon Shedden.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've seen something in this race with the diesel there. It's very quick at the end of this straight, and this is a very short straight. When we get to places like Thruxton and Snetterton, that car is going to absolutely fly.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how the diesel goes at all the circuits we visit this year. but still here at Brands Hatch for the season opener. Race 2, it's Giovanardi looking strong with a gap of nearly a second over Gordon Shedden. Jason Plato, the man who pushed and led the series for so much of last year until the last race of the last event. Oh, a little bit of locking up going on behind there. Tom Onslow Cole just tucked in behind Matt Neal, his teammate, the two Vauxhalls absolutely together there, and they're followed by Stephen Kane, then Tom Chilton in the other orange car in the middle of that group, and behind Chilton is Adam Jones, then Colin Turkington, who made that great progress earlier on in the race, now perhaps finding it a touch harder to get past people, and the race is beginning to settle down a little bit.
Yeah, but that safety car certainly helped Turkington, who started from the back, just coming into picture at the back there behind Adam Jones. He had the fastest lap in the first race. It was the only thing he did salvage from it, a point for that, but we know that Turkington has a fast car, and of course he has no ballast on board.
That makes a big difference, whereas Fabrizio Giovanardi carrying maximum ballast up front and so far managing to hold the speed. Looking back at Matt Jackson from Jason Plato, you can hear the rumble as he goes over the curbs. Again, listen. Just the whoosh of the diesel turbo engine. Very different noise to what we're used to from on board these 2-litre British touring cars. Yeah, the drivers can't really hear the engine. Normally you have a sixth sense about the engine revs based on repetition and hearing it. Turkington up the back of Jones, but in the diesel you just don't get that, so the drivers have to look at the instrumentation, the shift lights on the dashboard or steering wheel to tell them when to change gear. Colin Turkington in the Team RAC BMW very close to the back of Adam Jones, as you mentioned. Jones there on line just about as he comes out of Druids. Turkington having a little think about an attack into Graham Hill Bend, but decided against it. Turkington looking a little frustrated. He set fastest lap in the race earlier on today, so there's no doubting the potential of that BMW if he can get into some clear air. There he is, the second of those two cars. Fastest lap earlier on today, but at the moment, fastest lap belongs to the Seat of Darren Turner. So Turkington's going to have to try and find something, find a little bit of space to get past. Battle there going on for third. It's Plato in the Seat, Jackson in the BMW, then Turner. Looking back a little bit more, you can see how Gordon Shedden has opened up that gap in second place. And nobody as yet making a move, but in the background, Jones was a little wide. Turkington might have a chance to get up the inside. Just have a look as they come out of Druids. Turkington's got past Jones in the background. So Turkington has managed to get past Adam Jones, and Mike Jordan, I think, might try and do the same thing, but is not going to quite manage it. Turkington has now therefore moved into 10th place.
Yeah, good move that by Turkington. He's been patient. He just managed to pressure Adam Jones into running a little bit wide. Here we got the two VX cars side by side. That's Matthew Neal and Tom Onslow Cole.
Look at them, absolutely side by side. Matt Neal in 6th, Onslow Cole was 7th, but that might change. Onslow Cole, the youngster who's joined the older boys, if you like, at Vauxhall. Matt Neal and Fabrizio Giovanardi now both over 40 years old, and Tom a youngster, but he hasn't quite managed to find his way past the double champion, or has he? Because he's now got a great run up the inside, and it is the youngster, surely, who's got to make the move on Matt Neal.
Well, that's a brilliant move. Tom was very much coming into this team as the third driver against two former champions, but he's really adapted to this car very well, and he's taken it to Matt Neal there in no uncertain terms. I was talking to Matt earlier, and he certainly can't use the same setup on the car that Giovanardi uses. He has a particular style all to himself, and Matt's been searching for a setup on the car that suits him, but certainly Onslow Cole, who is driving the car similarly set up to Giovanardi, is reaping the benefits.
And now we're on board with Tom Chilton, the 23-year-old from Reigate in Surrey, not far from the Brands Hatch circuit. And remember, these two had a little bit of a touch in the first race when Matt Neal got past Chilton. I wonder if Chilton might return the favour in this race.
He's certainly capable of it. Matt really struggling, running wide.
Up to the hairpin, little lock up there again from Matt Neal. Tom Chilton not quite close enough to challenge. Tom Onslow Cole has managed to just ease away a little bit. So the 20-year-old from Kingston in Surrey, very impressive in his debut for VXR in the Vauxhall Vectra, first touring car meeting in a front-wheel drive car, but showing Matt Neal the way to make this car work at the moment, and that is a surprise. Behind Matt Neal, you've got a little battle going on as Turkington gets up the inside of Stephen Kane. That was a good move up the inside into clearways.
Yeah, it was. That was two BMWs slugging it out now. Jordan on
no! Terrible place to have an accident coming onto the straight. Maximum speed out of clearways, and that could have been much worse. Kane's car slammed into the barrier, but thankfully just rubbed along the concrete wall. Take another look at this.
Well, I don't know if Stephen Kane didn't know that Jordan was there, because he took the normal racing line, which is to come across close to the inside, but Jordan definitely had his inside alongside there. The contact is actually very early in the corner, and I just hope that car hasn't hit the wall too hard, because that's the last thing that poor Dave Bartram wants, is one of his brand new BMWs needing a reshell.
What a shame. They had a good run in that first race, and they were very, very pleased with the result Stephen had in 8th place. But this one, of course, is not going to be the same way. We've got yellow flags being shown there, but no sign of the safety car. So it looks as though the race continues. Giovanardi up front still, and look at that, Matt Jackson now under some pressure from Darren Turner. So Jackson has dropped back away from Plato in the BMW, and here comes Turner having a little look up the inside.
Yeah, one of the things the drivers and sales are saying is they lost some of their braking ability. The cars were very good on the brakes last year, but slightly heavier on the front of the car now. They're not quite so good. Now there's Stephen Kane. He's actually got to climb across the car to the other side to get out.
Let's look at the replay here, Tim. Oh, look where he is. Right on the camera almost.
Yeah. And although that might have looked like a glancing blow, when you hit a concrete wall, trust me, that is very, very painful.
Well, he's out of the car, he's okay. Stephen Kane, a very valuable addition to British Touring Cars this year, but he looks a bit sore. And but the good thing is he's out of the car. The car is actually not really in a dangerous position, so they've managed to continue the race here. We're on lap 21 now out of 27. The race distance increased by 3 laps as the safety car was out earlier on. And it's still all about Fabrizio Giovanardi, reigning champion, leading this one. Colin Turkington has been putting the pressure on though, and he's now tucked in behind Tom Chilton in the battle for 8th place as they come down the hill, and Chilton's really having to defend.
Yeah, Matt Neal was holding these two up, and Turkington's the one on the charge. His car really flying now.
He is pushing. Oh, Chilton looking for his line, trying to keep that BMW behind. This is where the BMW is pretty fast on the inside, but he can't quite get alongside Tom Chilton there. No way through, and he's going to have to see if he can power his way out of clearways effectively here, and maybe then challenge into Paddock Hill Bend, up through the gears. 5-speed box now on the BMW for Colin Turkington, as opposed to the 6-speed sequential gearbox he was using last year. Down into Paddock Hill Bend, and he's not quite close enough to challenge.
Yeah, the reason the team have changed to that gearbox is to lose the 30-kilo weight penalty that you have for having the 6-speed box, which isn't a problem in itself when the car's on its base weight, but as soon as you gain success ballast, then it really becomes incremental and hurt the car.
Tom Chilton has adapted well to the Honda that he's driving, the Civic Type R. Oh, he's having to defend pretty hard here. He does just ease across in front of Turkington, who slides his way through Surtees. Is there a chance in the clearways? No, because Chilton shuts the door firmly and very fairly in Turkington's face, and now Turkington's going to have to work his way on the exit of the corner.
Turkington's very good at manipulating the situation. He works and works, changes his lines, puts the guy under pressure, and he'll just keep working at it until he finds a gap.
No gap into Paddock Hill Bend though. Chilton covers that line very effectively. They both run out onto the rumble strip on the outside, and now up to the hairpin, where again there's no opportunity for Turkington to nip through on the inside. Up front, remember, it's still Giovanardi in the Vauxhall who leads. It's Chilton's teammate Gordon Shedden currently running in 2nd place. Then it's Plato in the Seat, Jackson in the BMW. Here comes Turkington again. Oh, is he through this time? He might be. Oh, that's a tricky place to nip through, and Chilton just gave him enough space.
Oh, but Chilton's coming back at him. Chilton's coming back. This could end in tears. Oh, well, that was very close, because we saw Turkington got spun out there last year with a touch on the rear. It's very difficult to save the rear-wheel drive car when they get tapped wide. But that's put Mike Jordan back on his bumper, but well saved by Turkington.
Here's another view of it, and just talk us through this second part here, Tim.
Well, they gave each other room, but then Turkington got a little wiggle on, and Chilton smelled an opportunity to get back inside, and, well, I think Turkington must have on full lock there, but I don't know if Chilton's actually got a puncture or damaged his steering, but it looked a little bit terminal.
Well, that was the move. You could see it. That's how it sort of started. This was on board Tom Chilton. And then Chilton tried to get up the inside. There was the big opposite lock slide from Turkington. Great piece of car control. Saved it and continues. Turkington now in 8th place. Jordan is up to 9th place. Adam Jones into 10th. But the race leader is this man, the Italian Fabrizio Giovanardi. There's damage to Chilton's car. He is not going to be able to make the finish of this race. and he will be, and therefore be starting from the back in race 3. It's not turning into a good day for Tom Chilton.
No, that's a puncher, and this is something Tom needs to do. He's got the pace, he's got a good car underneath him, he just needs to finish a few more races.
Onslow Cole has caught up to the back of Darren Turner, just behind those two, but Jackson there right with Jason Plato, which is also key because that's the final podium slot we're looking at. Jason Plato in the green and yellow Seat is going to have to work here, and we're on board with Jackson looking to try and get into third. Remember, he was second earlier on in this race. Matt Jackson lost that position on the restart, didn't quite get the restart correct. Oh, look how close, almost touching the rear bumper of the Seat, but cleanly through and out of clearways, up through the gears, back up to maximum speed, 125 miles an hour, flashing past the stricken car of Stephen Kane. A little bit too far away to challenge into the right-hander at paddock.
Yeah, the Jackson car is a very quick car on the straights, we said that, but you can see it can't get anywhere near the diesel turbo down the straight.
So that's where Jason Plato takes full advantage, and then when we get to the twistier corner at Druids, Jackson gets a bit closer. In the background you can see that it's another race going on between Darren Turner in the second Seat and then Tom Onslow Cole in the Vauxhall. The Vectras are going well here at the moment, leading the race and sitting in 6th and 7th places, but also going well that Team Halford's car of Gordon Shedden, strong second position courtesy of a brilliant getaway at the start of this race. Coming around this time, they'll be going on to their final lap here, and Fabrizio Giovanardi surely has done enough. He's only got the 1 lap to go to record a second straight victory, and what a start to his championship defence this is turning out to be. I bet there won't be many race meetings where it's quite this straightforward, but that's how it is for Giovanardi at the moment. Shedden in second, Plato in third, and still Matt Jackson is threatening.
And a good drive by Tom Onslow Cole. He passed his teammate and illustrious former champion Matt Neal. He's caught up behind Darren Turner, who's done a really good job in this race.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But look at Giovanardi, no problems for him at all. It was a good enough getaway by Fabrizio Giovanardi. He's carried absolute maximum ballast of 45 kilograms in this race, but it doesn't seem to have slowed him down at all. And it is the reigning champion Fabrizio Giovanardi. He's going to make it 2 out of 2 here at Brands Hatch to take victory in the second race. Shedden takes second, Plato just holds on to third, Matt Jackson is fourth, fifth goes to Darren Turner, then it's Onslow Cole, Matt Neal in 7th, Colin Turkington takes 8th from 20th on the grid, Mike Jordan is 9th, and Adam Jones finishes in 10th place.
Whatever's happening behind, nothing upsets the composure of the defending champion. It's 2 wins out of 2 for Fabrizio Giovanardi, and we'll have reaction after the break. Battle is joined in earnest in the new British Touring Car Championship. Round 2 had big shunts, very big ones, and safety cars. It had fierce competition, everything that characterises the British Touring Car Championship. But through it all, Fabrizio Giovanardi led from the start for his 2nd win out of 2 races on this opening day of the championship here at Brands Hatch. And Fabrizio, congratulations. How would you sum up the day's work so far?
We didn't expect. We made hard work during the winter to have this kind of performance, and we are really not surprised, but we are really happy because we won the first 2 races. So it's a long season, but it's a good start.
What has made the difference then, do you feel? What has surprised you about it?
It's difficult to say because we had different conditioning during this week, so I think we have just made the maximum to keep the concentration on the weekend, and this is why.
And you're carrying ballast, of course, as a result of the victory in the first race. What difference did you feel that made? You made a terrific start.
The ballast makes some difference, not in the lap time, but in the end the tires suffer more. So in the end the other drivers lighter can catch you easily. But anyway, my car was perfect today, so no way.
Any concerns at all during the course of the race? How conscious of you of what was happening behind?
Yeah, I've seen some accidents. I was just in control the second car behind me. I just checked if the gap was more on less, and that's it.
So it's a terrific start. Round 3, of course, is where the grid gets a little bit reshuffled at the start. And in the bowl here, we've got numbers which are relating to the drivers who finished 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the last race. And Fabrizio, you will join one of these names out of the receptacle here and take their place down the grid. We've got to ask you to look away, stick your hand in there, and take out a number.
And for sure.
And it is number 9. You should have practiced this. You will take the place of Mike Jordan back there down the grid, and your reaction to that?
Yeah, it could be worse, could be 10th. Anyway, I expect to find that number. I'm not lucky in the lottery, but anyway, I weekend lucky in the race.
So you move all the way back to take the place of Mike
6.
Jordan. Yeah, try and turn it upside down. Thoughts of what you might achieve from that position?
Yeah, just to make control the other drivers, because everything could happen in the first corner. If I come out of the first corner without any accident, I can make good results anyway. Whatever
happens in race 3, it's been a terrific day for you so far. Thanks very much indeed, Fabrizio. Let's go to Ben Edwards to see exactly how the grid has regrouped now for that third race of the afternoon.
Thank you, Steve. Well, it's amazing. Mike Jordan ended up on pole position here last year on the reverse grid as well, and then got taken out by Fabrizio Giovanardi. Well, Jordan now on pole position. Then it's Colin Turkington who'll line up alongside him on the front row of the grid with the fast-starting BMW. So that will be very interesting to see how he gets on with that. Behind them, Matt Neal, of course, and then Tom Onslow Cole. So the Vauxhalls are looking strong, even if Fabrizio Giovanardi has to start all the way back down in 9th place. They could still get some great results out of this one. Behind those two, watch out for the stay-out of Darren Turner and, of course, Matt Jackson, who's been a little bit out of luck. He's got great pace with that BMW, but it didn't work for him, particularly on the restart in that last race. He could do something, though, from 6th position on the grid. Then behind those guys, we've got some more to watch out for. Jason Plato in particular, Gordon Shedden in 8th place. And then behind them, of course, the man who was the winner last time out, it is now Fabrizio Giovanardi, starting all the way down in 9th place. Adam Jones is alongside him in 10th. That's where he finished race 1. No reverse grid that far down. Behind him then, we've got Stephen Jelly, Matt Allison as well. Stephen Jelly doing well on his debut in the Team RAC car this weekend. Behind these two youngsters, we've got to watch out for Jason Hughes. He's in the MG. That car still going well, but he'll be switching over to a Honda Integra soon. Young Andy Jordan next up. And then it's Harry Volkard and Erkut Kazilimak driving in the Astra, the Arcus racing car. Those two guys looking to score points if possible. Behind them, we've got Martin Bell and Michael Doyle, also doing a good job on his debut in the series. Then we've got John George and Alan Taylor, both amateur racers, but determined to show what they can do. And then towards the back, some others to watch out for. Tom Chilton, in particular, of course, out of luck in that last race, but in a very rapid car with Stephen Kane in the BMW there as well.
Well, a few hours ago, it was a rain-affected first touring car race of the day, but now it's Brands Hatch in a chilly spring sunshine and a good-sized crowd here, all set for what should be a fascinating battle. So the grid is assembled for the third race in the 2008 HiQ British Touring Car Championship. Fabrizio Giovanardi has won 2 out of 2 so far today, but as ever, it's a reshuffled front of the field for this final race of the day. And down on the grid, we can join Tim Harvey.
Welcome to the grid for the first of the reverse grid races, and we find on the front row the man Mike Jordan, the old man of the team. He has his younger driver racing behind him, but it presents him with a great opportunity. Of course, he has won a British touring car race from a reverse grid at Mondello last year, but I wonder how he's feeling now. Mike, great opportunity now. You have won a touring car race from a reverse grid race, but you're on the front row, and Giovanardi's a little way behind. You don't want to repeat it last year.
No, he might still try and outbrake me from where he is, won't he? But I think realistically, Colin's going to lead this into the first corner, isn't he? And at the minute, we've just struggled finding the sweet spot today with it, and don't want to be defeatist. It's great to be on pole, but I don't think we've probably got the car to stay at the front today, which psychologically is not a good way to start, is it? But I'm just being realistic, so we do our damnedest. I mean, we were just a couple of tenths off evening dry running in that last race, so do our best.
I mean, you know this car better than anyone now. I mean, can a BTC spec car win a British touring car race in 2008?
Yes, I think it definitely can. It's going to get harder, isn't it? Because the homologation advantages that the Super 2000 cars can get, quite rightly so, they're going to edge away. But for what we're trying to do this year, to put on a show for our sponsors and to get Andrew into touring car racing, Integra's a great car still. So we'll do our best. If we can grab a few podiums, we'll be a happy team.
Well, Colin didn't make the best of starts in the last race, so I think you might be doing yourself a disservice. I think if you get in the lead, you want to give it a good chance.
Oh, I shall certainly be giving it a good chance, mate. And we've made quite a radical rear suspension change to it as well. So if it's sort of backwards through paddock first lap, you know we reduce the rear rebound a bit too much.
OK, now I've got to ask you, this is a first for British touring cars. You've got your son racing Andrew. You've beaten him in the first 2 races, but honestly, are you thinking about him on circuit?
it's very hard not to, and it will be quite difficult for me to switch off away from that. I'm sure you can appreciate that as well. And you know, I saw somebody barge down the inside at the first corner into the side of Matt Allison. Matt Allison was a complete passenger into Andy through the gravel trap. You know, you see that go on, and it is going to affect you. It's going to take me a little while, I think. Once I'm confident that he's okay on his own and he's found his feet, it'll be okay. At the minute, yes, I do still think about him.
All right, well, good luck. They say men can't do two things at once. I've tried commentating while racing, and I certainly can't do that. So I do feel for Mike Jordan. Let's move across the grid and have a word with Dick Bennett, the boss of West Surrey Racing. Dick, you've got a chance now with Colin to redeem something from the day.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, we're looking forward to this, starting from the front row in the Team RAC BMW.
He didn't make the best of starts, though, in the last race.
Race 1 was a fantastic start. Race 2 was average, but now's the one that counts, so we'll see what he does.
Now, talking technically just for a minute, but not being too technical, you have changed from the 6-speed gearbox back to the 5-speed. What were the reasons behind that?
It's a way and up. I mean, I'm a great believer in cost containment, and we chose 6-speed as a private independent team, knowing we'd have to carry 30 kilos. But now, having had a year with the BMW, we decided to go for outright, looking at winning the championship. So with many debates with the engineers through the winter, we decided to go 5-speed and lose the 30 kilos. But the downside is that it's an H-pattern shift, not a sequential. So, you know,
is that what caught Colin out in the first race?
Yes, it's fair to say that was, you know, it's the first mistake the young lad's made. So it just caught him out. You know, been used to sequential, but you know, he's allowed one mistake for the year.
Well, you've always said that Colin was a very nice driver, and you were going to try and engender a little bit more aggression in him over the winter for this year. Have you managed to do that?
I think we could see that in race 2, that, you know, there's a bit of fire there now, so we're looking forward to race 3.
All right, best of luck.
Thank you.
Right, we couldn't leave this grid walk without talking to Seat. Their debut with the diesel has gone so far pretty well with 3 podiums, although very close competition between Darren and Jason. I'm going to have a word with Scott Dennis from Seat UK and just see how he feels the debut's going. Scott, a great debut, 3 podiums so far. What can Darren do in this race? It's the first time he's got his nose in front of Jason.
2 podiums so far.
Apologies.
It's been a great debut for us. You know, we've only had the car for 1 day's proper testing. We came here with the expectations of trying to get both cars to finish all 3 races in the points. We've done that so far, and to finish with 2 podiums as well will be a great bonus for the team.
Okay, now I can't help noticing with my critical eye that the car has got some serious pace at the end of this relatively short straight. How do you fancy it'll go when we get to Snefton and Thruxton?
I think it'll go well, but in reality we have so little data about the car at the moment that until we run the car for the first time on a Saturday morning at each circuit, we really don't know how well we're going to perform.
Well, so far so good. It's great to see the car out there, even if we can't hear it, but well done with the car so far. We'll move down the grid now to Team Dynamics and Steve Neal, who, of course, no longer has his son racing for him. And this has caused some friction, I think, over the winter as they work in the same business. And Matt is not allowed to poke his head round the workshop door and find out what's happening for fear of taking information to Vauxhall. But Steve, as ever, runs a very professional team, and let's see how he feels. Steve. Afternoon, so far so good. You haven't had Matt in the team over the winter. How have you managed to keep him out of the workshop?
Well, of course he's got a new home and he's got a wife who can keep him anywhere, so that keeps him out of trouble, I think.
Has he still got a job though, working for you?
Yes, he has, in the wheel side. Yeah, that's good business.
Okay, back to the car. I mean, winter development, have you found something from the car?
That's hard to tell, quite honestly, because we figured on something and then we figured we'd lost it again. So there's little bits. We're obviously faster than we were, but BMWs are very quick and the turbos are quick, so we've got to make our act a little bit better yet.
Well, Gordon's now the team leader effectively, and he stepped up to the plate very well. He certainly makes some excellent starts, and the last race, 2nd place, a really good result. You probably weren't hoping to find yourself quite as far back for the 3rd race.
Well, yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? That's the draw of the cards, and you have to play what you got. And he'll be all right. He'll come through.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. Very best of luck for this one. Hopefully we've got some time to... Well, I think we're going to have to get off the grid, but thank you very much for joining us on the grid. Let's see what happens in this exciting reverse grid race.
Yes, thanks very much indeed, Tim. Yes, the first reverse grid of this new season. What effect will it have on Giovanardi's domination so far? Ben Edwards can take us through the grid in detail.
Well, it's good to see Mike Jordan on that pole position then with the reverse grid in action. He's been there before, and as Tim mentioned, he's won a race before, but he's going to have his work cut out to try and stay up front on this one. So this is how the grid looks then, with Mike Jordan and Colin Turkington on the front row. Now that Team RAC car's been very rapid. It should be quick off the line. Could be a possible victory for them in this race. Onto the second row, and we've got Matt Neal, double champion with his new team, VX Racing, and alongside him his very impressive 20-year-old teammate Tom Cole, who passed him in that last race. I wonder what's going to happen between them this time. Behind them on row 3 we've got Darren Turner in the first of the diesel-powered Seats, and then Matt Jackson, who's been fast all day. He was on pole position for the first race of the day, second in that first race, but dropped away a little bit in the second one. Plato starts 7th. Gordon Shedden, who was so fast off the line in race 2, he starts 8th. If he makes another start like that, he could still be leading into the first corner. Behind them, we've got Fabrizio Giovanardi, winner of both races so far today, and Adam Jones in the Team Air-Cooled Seat, a car he's only just got to grips with this weekend. Next up is Stephen Jelly in the Team RAC BMW, the second of those cars, and Matt Allison in the Robert Shaw Racing Chevrolet Lacetti. Behind those guys, it's Jason Hughes in the trusty MG. It's still going strong, and alongside him, Mike Jordan's son. He's back there on the 7th row of the grid in 14th place. Let's see how much progress he can make. Harry Volkard and Erkut Kazilimak are next up. They're together on row number 8. On row 9, it's Martin Bell in the second of the Arcus Racing with Sunshine cars, and then it's Michael Doyle alongside on his debut weekend. John George and Alan Taylor are on row 10 together, both with identical Honda Integras. And then behind them, watch out, because we've got a couple of quickies. Tom Chilton in the Team Halfords car and Stephen Kane in the rebuilt Motorbase BMW. At the back, also watch out for Rob Collard, another of the Motorbase cars capable of a good result. And at the back there, we've got Stuart Oliver in the BTCC Racing Lexus. So that's how they line up then for the start of this third and final. Look at the sun glinting off the cars. The best weather conditions we have enjoyed pretty much throughout the entire weekend. We had that damp race earlier on, rain pouring during the middle of it. Much drier for race 2, but glorious now for race 3. Now Jason Plato starting in his Seat, starting on the 4th row of the grid. We are going to have a word with him now. We've got the radio link to him this weekend, so it's our opportunity to see how things are going. So let's talk to Jason. This is Ben for Jason. Jason, how are you feeling in preparation for this third race of the day?
Hi Ben, yeah, pretty good, although I've got a bit of indigestion actually. I had a sandwich a little bit too near the race, and I can taste a bit of Dijon mustard.
You haven't been working with your nutritionist properly, have you?
Well, it appears not at this stage of the game, but see, the problem is my wife Sophie's at home. She's not here today, so I'll wave to her. She normally looks after that side of things, so hi Soph.
Well, we'll see how you get on in this one, Jason. What do you reckon? What are you going to say? Where are you going to be at the end of this?
Well, I mean, the important thing here is to get some good points. You know, we've had a pretty successful day with our first outing with the diesel car, and you know, we don't want to throw that good work away. So, you know, with a reverse grid, anything could happen. You know, I want to try and get as near as possible, but points are the order of the day.
Okay, well, have a good one. And that's Jason Plato, and we'll look forward to seeing how he gets on. Starting on the 4th row of the grid then on this one, just ahead of Gordon Shedden, and also only just ahead of his great rival for the championship last year, Fabrizio Giovanardi, who's already had those 2 race wins here today. Other Vauxhalls a bit further up the order. Those are of Matt Neal and Tom Cole. They start on the 2nd row. So Vauxhall have still got a lot to hope for here, with Mike Jordan and Colin Turkington up front. But you have to say perhaps the favourite should be Colin Turkington, that orange car that is second on the road at the moment as they continue to weave around and build up a bit of tyre temperature. Turkington, fastest lap in the first race of the day, surged his way forward from 20th place on the grid to finishing 8th in race 2. So there's every prospect that if he can get off the line cleanly, Turkington could take victory here in race 3. But as we know, this is British touring cars, anything can happen. Glad to say Tim's managed to scamper up the steps here and into the commentary box. Tim, a lot to look forward to, and I was just making mention that we've got the best weather of the entire weekend now.
Yeah, but that doesn't go to clear up some of the nervousness that there definitely is on the grid as we approach the first reverse grid race. It's inevitable, in fact, that you'll get that because there are some lightweight cars at the front and behind them.
Well, we shall see. We just saw a little bit of smoke from the diesels there. That's standard stuff. If they're on and off the throttle a little bit, then you'll see that little bit of smoke coming out of them. Once they're up to full throttle, full speed, you won't see any of that. The car's into position. You can see Mike Jordan's angled his car very slightly to try and allow for that camber on the start line on pole position. The front of the car will just slide down the camber slightly. But the two John Guest cars here this weekend looking absolutely superb. He's very proud of the new truck they've got as well that they bought over the winter. It's a very professional setup.
Very much so, but it was clear from the grid that he is thinking about his son, and the driver can really only think about one thing. But by angling the car up the road, it also means he doesn't have to hold it on the brakes.
Well, let's see how he gets on with the start here, but watch that orange BMW on the right, starting in second place. That is Colin Turkington, and he could well make a rocket start. Red lights are on, lights go out, away we go, and it is Turkington. Look at this getaway, as expected, and also for Matt Jackson, a very, very fast start in the white BMW on the outside. Matt Jackson's going to try and take second into the first corner at Paddock Hill Bend, round the outside. He's gone, yes, he's up into second. What a start by both BMWs. It's Turkington leading, Jackson is second, pushed by Jordan. Jordan squeezes, hold off, got one of the Seats, it's Darren Turner. Turner's off at the hairpin. Yeah, Darren Turner's miserable luck continues. He started fifth, that was his best chance for a good result. The dive up the inside, I think that was Chilton. There's a bit of rubbing down the back rail. Oh, Shedden straight into, big shunt. That's a big accident from Tom Onslow Cole in the Vauxhall, and that's surely going to bring the safety car out immediately. Too many cars gathered together in one section of track, and the front end of that Vector has been wiped out. That car's a write-off. That'll need reshelling for sure. I hope Tom's okay. He's moving in the car, so hopefully he's okay. And well, that was Turner from the first lap skirmish at Druids. We sort of predicted this could happen. There was a bit of a hold-up at Druids. There was an even bigger hold-up at Graham Hill. The cars were three abreast and moving about on the bottom straight, and that was the inevitable result. Well, it's been pretty clean. He's out of the car. That's good news. He's stepping out of the car. Dr. Paul Trafford is down there immediately, and the medical car there to take him away to the medical centre for a check-up. Tom Onslow Cole really starred in that second race of the day here today, finished in 6th position, his debut for Vauxhall. He raced for Team RAC in the BMW last year. He's driven well, but I think he was just a victim of circumstance. But we will take another look and try and work out exactly what went on there, Tim. Yeah, difficult to see quite who's who. It was here's the start. Jackson on the outside, and Turkington getting excellent drives. And I didn't think at this point that Jackson would get around the outside, but he braves it out, and Mike Jordan gives him a lot of room at this stage. We thought he was being gentlemanly. And this is on board with Jackson. The front-wheel drive cars go to the right, the rear-wheel drive car goes to the left. He's got an excellent run. And then round the outside, this is, he seemed to have second place, as you say here, but then there was definitely a bit of rubbing up the hill. He gets across in front here, but then gets a little tap, there, which pushes him wide, and Jordan slips her on the inside. You can hear he goes down an extra gear. There's Mike Jordan has got the place back. Down to Graham Hill. Now this is on board Tom Chilton. He was starting a little bit further back, obviously, so he had a bit more to do, right at the back of the field. So he had plenty to do from there. That's John George he's trying to get past, and Michael Doyle, he's gone to the outside there as well. Yeah, everybody tends to sort of go over to the inside to block the inside, and if you're that far back, the only thing you can do is go around the outside. It's worked for Tom so far. He's continuing around the outside. Now he's dived to the inside of Urquhart, and he's up behind Martin Bell. Little touch there, off exit stage left is Darren Turner. Now let's see if we can see what's happening further in front. We come down the hill. Oh, he dives up the inside. In front we've got Andrew
we
Jordan,
can't
one of them.
Yeah, we can't see. It's already happening in front.
Yeah, there's the accident. You can just see the car spinning, and he takes avoiding action. Bits of debris all over the place. Here we go. We might see a bit more. What happened here? Oh, Plato initially made contact with Shedden, and Shedden shot into Onslow Cole. Yeah. They were trying to go three abreast there, and it just isn't the space. Plato had a good run off the corner, and I think he was almost in the process of trying to back out of it when he bashed into the back of Shedden. He had the momentum, and I think he thought there'd be room to go up the inside, but it just ran out of room, and his touch on Shedden flicked the car. Typical front-wheel drive, no grip at the rear, just flicked the car straight into poor Tom Onslow Cole. I mean, ironically, that actually saved Shedden from going in the wall, but it put
it put Tom Onslow Cole head first into the wall. That's inside the Seat garage.
Yeah, this is what they are having a look at as well. This is on board with Jason from
well, this
the start.
will be very interesting. He and Turner get away very equally, again protecting the inside.
That's Gordon Shedden who gets ahead of him in the run into paddock, as he did, of course, in race 2.
Now we may see here why Turner goes off as well. Did Shedden get into the back of him? Yes, he did there, put the car sideways, and he goes off left. Now, is Jason thinking retaliation here? I don't think so. But now, we need to see what happens here just in front. The side-by-side with Onslow Cole. Oh, now you can see the momentum here. He's looking for some space. He's looking for space up the inside. There's a touch there. Shedden goes sideways, flicks right, bang, into Onslow Cole.
Well, they all slowed each other up so much. Plato had a much better run out of the corner, and he was just carrying a lot more speed, and they ran out of space to make it through 3 abreast down there. So very unfortunate for Tom Onslow Cole, who was completely innocent in that. Darren Turner there, his car is being recovered, so we're going to take a moment or two behind safety car here to get that sorted out. Now, of course, we've got the radio link with Jason Plato here this weekend. I think we might go and ask him what went on. This is Ben to Jason. Jason, what happened there?
Well, we'd coming on the exit of Graham Hill first lap. I've got a pretty good exit, and the 2 guys in front, which was Onslow Cole and Gordon, got tangled up a bit with each other, and I kept to the left side, went left to try and sneak past, and it kind of all just, you know, everyone, there wasn't enough room for 3 cars, and Gordon kind of came over my way a little bit, and we touched very slightly, and then I think he was kind of sandwiched between me and Tom Onslow Cole. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that was pretty much what it looked like from our point of view as well. Yeah, it just everything seemed to run out of space, and Tom is the one that's hit the wall. How about your car? Is there any damage to your car that you're aware of?
Yeah, my steering's not quite straight. I've got a little bit of right hand down and a vibration. So yeah, we're just waiting to see how that transpires in the race. Unfortunately, the pace at the minute behind the pace car is so slow. I can't really feel how much damage there is, but I think it'll be fine. I think.
Jason, right. Well, we'll wish you a clean second part to this race.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. When looking at the in-car, it looked like his steering wheel wasn't straight, and I wasn't sure if that was just the camera angle. I was going to ask him myself if he hadn't volunteered the information, but certainly he's obviously a little bit concerned that once they get up to full speed, the problem may be bigger than he realises at the moment.
Let's just quickly run you through the order, because, of course, we might have only got a lap in, but we've still got an order here, which sees Colin Turkington leading, Matt Jackson in second, Mike Jordan, the original pole sitter, in third, then Matt Neal in 4th place, Jason Plato himself in 5th, and Stephen Jelly up into 6th place. So that's pretty good for Stephen Jelly, who started back in 11th place on the grid. Behind them is Matt Allison in 7th. Fabrizio Giovanardi not really making any progress on that first lap. He's down in 8th. Gordon Shedden has survived. I wonder how badly his car is damaged, but he's running 9th at the moment, ahead of Adam Jones. Andrew Jordan's moved up a fair bit because he's 11th. And then Tom Chilton behind him, then Jason Hughes, Martin Bell, Etiquette, then Rob Collard, John George and Michael Doyle. And then the other guys that are still running, Harry Volkard, Alan Taylor are still running, but of course we've lost both Tom Onslow Cole and Darren Turner from this race. So drama indeed in the opening lap here of race number 3 at Brands Hatch. Safety car remains out for the moment. Once the lights go out, we'll be into a restart.
Yeah, Giovanardi didn't quite make as much progress as we expected. He's usually demon at these first laps, but he also has an eye on the championship even at this early stage, and he's trying to keep out of trouble, and discretion is often the better part of valour, and I'm sure he'll gain places during the rest of this race. But I think that just shows how strong these cars are. That car went into the wall at unabated speed, probably something approaching 90-100 miles an hour, and it's testament to the team, Triple Eight, and how strongly they build those cars. The hands device that Tom Onslow Cole was wearing, that he was able to get out of the car and walk away really unhindered. But great job by them to build such a strong car, but they'll have to build another one for the next race. Safety car lights are out.
Indeed, so we will see this race restarted, and it's Colin Turkington and Matt Jackson, the battle of the BMWs up front. It's the Team RAC car of of Colin Turkington that's got the advantage, but is he going to be able to fend off the BMW Team UK car of Matt Jackson right behind him? Big rivalry, of course, between these two in basically identical cars.
Well, a huge rivalry because both teams have got their own engineering skills. There's slight differences in the car. One car is built by West Surrey Racing, the other car's been supplied by IBM, which is Andy Prio's team, and off they go. A very good restart.
So we're underway once again, and Colin Turkington takes them across the line ahead of Matt Jackson. Now watch out behind as well. Mike Jordan's going to come under some pretty severe pressure from Matt Neal right behind him in the Vauxhall, and then Jason Plato trying to feel whether that Seat is damaged or not, Plato, and right behind him Stephen Jelly. Already they're all ganging up on one another into the hairpin of Druids. Got some side-by-side action going on there. Squeezed out wide, I think Shedden on the grass.
Shedden been taken out wide.
Adam Jones it was that he made contact with, I'm pretty sure, as they came through the hairpin. Jones is going very slowly down the hill, but the challenge for the lead is still on. Turkington versus Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson's really looking racy. He's actually had to dive out of the way twice on this lap, not to run into the back of Jackson.
And look how
Turkington.
And look how Jordan's been able to stay with them. Because of that, he's nudging Jackson himself a second.
Yeah, this is what we saw last year with the West Surrey cars, that they took a couple of laps just to get into their stride. Whether they set the tyre pressures a little bit lower and they come in a bit quicker, but Matt Jackson was like lightning off the restart. Another safety car, I think.
Yeah, safety car is back out. They've all slowed it down through Paddock Hill Bend, and there is the safety car. So once again, Colin Turkington slows it all down, and there's the damaged Shedden's car coming down the hill, that is, still down towards Graham Hill Bend. But a lot of damage to the left front. He hit the tyres pretty hard there.
Yeah, he got taken wide round Druids with Adam Jones and sort of got onto the grass, which of course is very wet, and he literally just couldn't steer it. That's the way I saw it. And he's actually driven the car out of the way himself.
Yeah.
Here we go, he's out on the grass. Now he can't steer the car, it's got a mind of its own at this point. It catches the tyres, which sucks the front end in, and around he goes.
This might be the slowest corner on the track, but I tell you what, when they go off, look there, side by side, being squeezed out by Jones, squeezed out onto the grass, and even there the minimum speed is around 45-50 miles an hour, and when you hit the barrier on wet grass, that does a lot of damage. There's the car that he tangled with at the
Jones
hairpin.
got a puncture and had to stop to get a new tyre on, but in actual fact he'll be, he's actually dropped a lap. Jones has dropped a lap, so he won't be able to get back onto the back of the lead pack.
So bad news for Gordon Shedden. He was fourth in the points after the first two races here today. That's going to drop him down the order. Turkington trying to make up for a disappointing start to the day. He's in the lead. He's got the position he wants, but fighting off Matt Jackson could prove to be a pretty tall order. Still Mike Jordan holding on to third place, Matt Neal in fourth, Jason Plato seems to be reasonably happy with his car in fifth place, then Stephen Jelly in sixth.
Yeah, back to that discussion about the BMWs. The two teams, very, very serious. West Surrey pride themselves in their engineering expertise. Matt Jackson's team, a small team, but enlisting the help of RBM, the factory team. Their car runs on Moton dampers, slightly different to the O-Lines that are on the West Surrey car. Noticeably around the track, the car is a little softer at the back.
Here we go. Look,
we're ready for a restart.
That's right, the lights are out once again. Look how Turkington has backed them all up. Now he's going to get his foot hard on the gas and accelerate that BMW out of clear ways. Well judged, just misses the back of the safety car as it heads into the pit lane. That was good judgment by Turkington, and he's made a better restart this time.
Yeah, he has. He was aware that he was caught napping the last time, but just see if Jackson closes on this first lap, because Colin Turkington is a little bit weak on restart first laps of racing.
That's right, but the two of them have got away pretty evenly here. Again, the two BMWs absolutely together. Mike Jordan holds on to third from Matt Neal. Bit of a wide line a little further back there by Stephen Jelly in the second of the Team RAC BMWs. And that put him under pressure from Matt Allison in the Chevy. And in fact, he's gone wide and the Chevy's gone past. But the Chevy under pressure himself from Giovanardi. Here comes the Italian, taking advantage, taking two spots in one go.
Yeah, great opportunistic move by Matt Allison and in turn by Giovanardi.
Yeah, great stuff from Fabrizio Giovanardi. 2 wins today. Now he's gained a couple of places. That's put him into sixth. So he's got to try and chase after that lead pack. There's quite a gap that's opened up there.
There has, but not between these front two. Jackson's on the tail again, closing on the brakes into paddock.
Another look at how Matt Allison started this initially trying to get past Stephen Jelly, but watch the Vauxhall behind.
Yeah, both Matt Allison and Stephen Jelly a little bit slow out. A perfect run through the corner for Giovanardi, not compromised at all. Unfortunately, Matt Allison just gives him enough room on the inside to avoid a repeat of what we saw in the first lap.
It could easily have been. This is exactly what Plato tried, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they did end up tangling, Plato and Shedden, but Giovanardi gets through cleanly. and takes the place. So yeah, good vision, good awareness there from Matt Allison. And look, up front, no change. Turkington leads, Jackson in second place. These BMWs are so evenly matched, both running with the H-pattern gearbox now, so weight-wise, there's no difference between them.
Exactly the same weight, exactly the same gear ratios, exactly the same engines, just down to the teams and the chassis setup.
So, and the driver, of course.
And the driver, all the same tyres, of course. Dunlop supplying the tyres once again. All the same tyres for the front-wheel drive and the rear-wheel drive car, and it's working very well indeed.
Down the hill, let's just listen up to Matt Jackson into Graham Hill Bend.
Just snatches fourth for a brief instant, then back to third for Graham Hill. Runs wide, loses traction by running wide there. You see the little jump that Turkington gets. Need to stay off those curbs.
Use the curbs a bit on the left at 30s, now into clearways. Potential overtaking area, but not close enough this time. Now sliding the car out wide through clearways, up through the gearbox now, hard on the power, and building up to cross that start-finish line, 125 miles an hour, and on to yet another lap. It happens fast and furious around the Indy circuit.
It does, and you can see now that Turkington's got his tyres up to pressure. He's now more comfortable in the car, and it's harder for Jackson to stay on the back. This is exactly the pattern we saw last year.
Now Mike Jordan in third was worried he wouldn't have the pace to run with these front runners. That's not happening. He's in third. He's actually eased away from Matt Neal and Jason Plato.
Yeah, he was talking it down on the grid, but I really think he's got a good chance here.
Well, he's running strongly in third place behind those two BMWs. Matt Neal behind him hasn't been able to keep that gap or close it up again, so that's a surprise. And Jordan going very well in the John Guest car. Round clearways they come. There he is, Mike Jordan, old man, it says on his side window. That's Alan Gow, director of the BTCC, who took away his name that was on the side, gave him old man and gave his son young man.
Nothing like rubbing it in, is there?
50 years old this year is Mike Jordan. His son only 18 years old. Making his first steps in British touring cars. Both BMWs using that extra bit of road out there at Paddock Hill Bend, but no change between the leaders. You can see Andrew Jordan at the back of that next group. There he is with the yellow wing mirrors, and he's running in 10th place.
Yeah, running very strongly. Well, two little groups running here. We've got the first group of 5 cars and then the next group of 5 cars, all very close together, and certainly Plato's putting the pressure on the back of Matt Neal for fourth, and well, these two have plenty of history in BTCC, don't they?
They do, and well, we'll see what happens. Tom Chilton you're riding with, tucked in behind Stephen Jelly there at the moment. This is for 8th
Jelly's
place.
gone wide.
Indeed, so a chance for Chilton, takes advantage of that and nips through.
Yep, perfect. And there he's got the inside now alongside. These two cars very equal on the straight, but Chilton has the inside line and should be able to outbrake him. Now, will Andrew Jordan be able to follow him through? Is there enough of a gap? No.
Doesn't look like it. He's settled in behind, which is sensible.
He's got a little overlap now.
Definitely a chance up into the hairpin. He might ignore. He isn't able to. Stephen Jelly was very quick to get across, and that was sensible from Stephen Jelly. One of the few, I would think, British touring car drivers to ever have a fine art degree. I can't remember many others that have got a degree in fine art who've gone on to British touring car racing, but that is Stephen Jelly, and he's doing a fine job at the moment in 8th place. Back to the
Jackson
lead.
still hanging on. He's still hanging on. He's sort of, the gap is ebbing and flowing certainly, but they appear to have just dropped Mike Jordan a little bit in this last lap or so.
So it's still the two BMWs ruling the roost here around the Brass Hatch Indy circuit. Just 0.2 of a second separating them on that last lap. Nothing to choose. This is real pressure for Turkington, and for Matt Jackson, real determination and grit. He wants to come away from this weekend with at least one victory. He was up front leading race 1 today until the rain came down and Giovanardi pulled off a breathtaking pass to get through and take the lead. And Jackson then lost out a bit in the second race as well. He'd love to put that all behind him, score maximum points here, but to do that he's got to find a way past the orange car. We've got a bit crossed up through Surtees.
Well, a bit crossed up. I think he had his arms flailing inside the car there. He is trying really hard. I love watching this guy race. He absolutely wrings the car's neck. You never get the impression that he's coasting with Matt Jackson. He's a racer, and if there's a car in front, he is going after it.
So another little race going on here between Matt Allison in the blue car. That's the Chevrolet Lassetti. Great to have that in British touring cars this year. It's another make of car we've got in the series, but he's under some serious pressure from Tom Chilton here. Nothing much to choose. And in the background, Stephen Jelly and Andrew Jordan. Here comes Chilton up the inside of Allison, and I think he's pulled that one off.
Yeah, that was a good move. Matt was slightly wide at paddock. Chilton had a good run at him and made a firm and decisive lunge up the inside, and Matt gave him room without them running wide. But certainly that team, Robert Shaw Racing, doing a good job with the Chevrolets, helped this weekend and at the next race by John Waterman from the factory RML Chevrolet team, and certainly they're trying to soak up as much information from somebody that's considered one of the gurus of touring car engineering.
Great opportunity for Matt Allison to really firmly establish his position in British touring cars. Impressive last year, and now a change of car, change of team for this year. But there we are, our two leaders. So we're on lap 19 out of 27, still a little way to go here, and how the cars behave as we get into the latter stage of the race could be instrumental in deciding which of these two cars comes through to win. It's still Mike Jordan in third, who's been caught perhaps a little bit more over the last lap or two by Matt Neal. There's Matt Neal, second of those two cars. It feels strange seeing Matt Neal back in a Vauxhall after all these years, but let's get used to it, because there he is, and he's top Vauxhall in this race at the moment.
He is, and he's getting the big bucks, so he needs to start delivering, because he's certainly found this weekend he's got two very rapid teammates.
He has, yes. Giovanardi, winner of 2 races already. Giovanardi still in 6th place and hasn't really been able to close that gap. Here comes Jackson on the attack. Turkington has to make a little change of line to cover it, and that's clever stuff from both drivers. Real psychological battle going on here, Tim.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake. Matt Jackson is one of the new BRDC superstar drivers, and like some of the other drivers on that scheme, he wants to kick off his season with a win.
Well, he's looking for every opportunity here, but Turkington so far so good. He's just holding it, but not by much. Out of Graham Hill Bend, up through the gears they go once again towards the flat-out left-hander and Surtees. They just ease up a fraction there, and then they're back on the power, on the brakes, tight through here. So close. Talk about cigarette paper, there's not even that. They're touching surely through clearways.
There was a little touch there, probably compromised Jackson by not getting a good drive off the corner, but he's really hounding Turkington. Turkington will be looking in his mirrors as much as he's looking forwards at the moment.
This is good stuff between two of the younger guard of British touring cars. Turkington's been in the series a little longer than Matt Jackson, but there's very little to choose between them. The cars are identical as well, and it's a war of nerves out there at the moment to not make a mistake. We've still got a few laps to go. One little error from either of these guys could well determine the race. Again, it's eased them away from that battle for third between Mike Jordan and Matt Neal. Jason Plato still running in 5th. Giovanardi is in 6th place. Behind Giovanardi it's now Tom Chilton, and then Matt Allison, Stephen Jelly complete that top 10, but it's all about the battle up front at the moment.
Jason Plato's dropped off the back of Matt Neal as well, so he's not putting him under pressure, but Chilton is putting Giovanardi under pressure.
Certainly, and he was very close up there through clearways. Giovanardi could be under a bit of danger coming up towards Paddock Hill Bend this next time. Just watch the next cars. There you are. That's Giovanardi versus Tom Chilton, and there's not a lot to choose between the two of them. Ooh, Giovanardi beginning to slide more, I'm sure. That car, he's got maximum ballast on board, don't forget.
He's got maximum ballast, but he won the second race carrying that same ballast, but it's a lot warmer now. The temperature down there is a lot warmer. The track temperature's gone up, and I'm sure he's starting to feel it as we approach this, well, lap 22 now.
Yeah, we're on lap 22 out of 27. Giovanardi so far doing enough to keep the car of Tom Chilton, the Team Alfred's car, behind him. This is where Chilton made an attempt earlier on the BMW of Colin Turkington, but Giovanardi has quite a tight line into clearways, which not only seems to be fast for him, but it also helps him defend the position.
Yeah, and strangely, he has a very tight line coming out. He doesn't let the car run out wide at all. He takes a very narrow line, which you wouldn't expect in a front-wheel drive car if the tyres were going off. You'd expect him to run out wide, but he certainly holds a tight line out of clearways.
Should we read anything into little bits of rubber flying off the tyres?
No, a lot of it is just pick up off the road. There's a lot of rubber down there. The circuit hasn't been swept, and we're approaching the end of the day's racing. It's not really significant.
So Giovanardi just holding on to it at the moment. 6th place for him. We're riding with Tom Chilton in 7th, but back with the leaders. Still very little change here. It's still Northern Irishman Colin Turkington just keeping the man from Henley Nard and Matt Jackson behind him, but there's never really been more than about a car length, and then it's a similar gap now between Mike Jordan and Matt Neal in that race for 3rd place, the final podium slot. Well, Mike Jordan said his aim this year is to just try and get some podium finishes. He's in that position at the moment, but he's got one of the toughest competitors behind him. It's Matt Neal.
Yeah, Matt would like to get a podium as well on his debut for Vauxhall. He did, of course, drive for Vauxhall previously under the Egg sponsored team, and that was the part of the factory team as well. So he has been with Triple Eight before, but I'm sure he'd like to get a podium.
Yes, he would, because the weekend started a bit in a difficult fashion for him, only qualifying 10th for that first race, and he's seen his new teammate Fabrizio Giovanardi take 2 wins already here this weekend. That drops him down the points. Look at this, very, very, very close and using the grass and dirt. Here comes Matt Neal. He's up the inside. It's a classic Matt Neal manoeuvre into clearways, shoving a little bit, but there was just enough space.
Well, there was enough space. He used a little bit of grass, but as you say, that is such a classic Matt Neal move. We've seen it so many times over the years, and really and truly, if you're going to defend against Matt Neal there, you need to drive on the inside line completely, because if there's a slightest gap, he sticks the nose in. But I think Mike knows fully well if Matt's committed up the inside there, it's best to let him go.
Yeah, he's still very close to him though as they come through the hairpin. I noticed there was nothing between them. Look, Mike Jordan has not given up on that. We're looking at the race leaders there, Turkington versus Jackson, but if you look as they come through, look, there's nothing to choose there. And in fact, Mike Jordan, I thought for a moment, might have been nudging him round. Meanwhile, I can tell you that his son, Andy Jordan, has managed to get past Stephen Jelly. Those two are having quite a good race as well on the backstretch, and that's put Andrew Jordan now up into 9th place. So both of the Jordans in the points, and the youngster, the 18-year-old, really getting a good start to his touring car career here this weekend. Over the line, another lap completed. So we're now on lap 26, just 2 laps to go. There is Fabrizio Giovanardi versus Tom Chilton. Chilton having a little look down the inside. Not quite there. I wondered if he was going to try and stay with it and keep the nose alongside the Vauxhall, but it didn't happen. Behind them, it's then Matt Allison and then Andrew Jordan. So that's oh, look at these two, the leaders now with a lap and a half to go, as close as ever, lights ablaze on Matt Jackson's car. Can Colin Turkington fend him off up into clearways? Holds it tight. Jackson's looking for the better run out of the corner, but Turkington's clever, waits to get on the bow, now he nails it.
Yeah, Jackson took a wide line in, but he couldn't gain the momentum out on the outside of the corner. It was almost as though Turkington slightly brake checked him just to kill his inertia.
Last lap for these two who've been racing within inches of each other for the entire race distance of 27 laps, and Colin Turkington has to cover the inside this time. Matt Jackson will try and run around the outside, but he knows that's not really possible and he could lose more time. Again, they're virtually touching down the hill to Graham Hill Bend for the final time. Turkington holds it tight. This will give Jackson a better run off the corner. Turkington may have to defend into the left-hander at Surtees. There's one more chance to overtake, and that's into clearways. Coming up now, what's going to happen? Is Jackson going to go for it? He has to go to the outside. There's no space, but he's trying to go right round the outside. They are absolutely side by side off the final corner. Jackson's on the grass. He loses momentum. It's going to be Colin Turkington to win race 3 at Brands Hatch. Team RAC do it from Jackson in 2nd place, Matt Neal takes 3rd, with Jordan in 4th, Jason Plato survives in 5th, Fabrizio Giovanardi takes 6th, then it's Tom Chilton. What a race to the flag there, Tim. That was absolutely an immense battle between these two.
It was a fantastic battle of wits and drivers, and both of them should have full marks for not indulging in anything naughty. I mean, Jackson there tried everything, even going around the outside of the last corner. Ever so brave, because certainly Turkington was going to lead on the outside. It nearly came off, but Turkington just put him on 2 wheels on the grass, and then he lost traction. But fantastic racing, full marks to both guys.
Yeah, absolutely great stuff. One more view of this. Jackson tries to go around the outside. This was brave, very, very tough. Didn't quite come off, and the victory has gone to Colin Turkington.
Terrific touring car racing, the climax of the afternoon's action at Brands Hatch. Costly for some, productive for others. A very good end to the afternoon indeed for Colin Turkington. We'll talk to the race winner after the break. A brilliant race and an incident-packed end to our afternoon here at Brands Hatch. The race interrupted on the very first lap. Tom Onslow Cole launched into the barrier at Graham Hill Bend. Driver okay. Safety car will be required again, but on that last lap we saw Colin Turkington hold off the challenge of Matt Jackson. Fantastic final lap, outstanding racing from both Turkington and Jackson. Colin Turkington takes the victory, and here's confirmation of that round 3 of the British Touring Car Championship. Going to Colin Turkington ahead of Matt Jackson, Matt Neal in 3rd, then Mike Jordan, Jason Plato, Fabrizio Giovanardi, who'd taken 2 wins earlier in the afternoon, fought his way up from 9th on the grid to take that 6th place. And in the championship itself, Giovanardi's lead by 2 points from Matt Jackson, Jason Plato, and our race winner just a few minutes ago, Colin Turkington. Colin and Matt, congratulations on a quite outstanding race. And what sort of pressure, Colin, did you feel under in that last lap?
Yeah, a lot of pressure really the whole race. I thought I could get away at the start, get a wee gap and get my head down, but no such luck. You know, I was under pressure that whole race, but all credit to my guys at Team RAC. You know, I had a terrible start to the weekend, spinning off in the first race, so it was very hard work to get here now, but you know, I'm delighted.
And Matt, did you think you had him on that last lap, especially approaching Clearways?
It's always going to be tough early, obviously, you know, early in the championship, but you know, we've always got to keep it clean and as clean as we can. And on the last lap, we knew we'd got the run through Colin through Surtees and on the brakes into Clearways, and for sure he was going to defend, and he did. And I thought, okay, well, let's try around the outside, and hopefully we can get enough momentum to get past. But you can see there, we're around the outside now. We've gone for the move of okay, let's hold it in there. But Colin did exactly what I expected him to do, really, and that was roll the car out. And you know, in a situation like that, I think it's fair.
What sort of respect do you need to have for each other in a racing situation like that?
Yeah, a lot. You know, it takes a lot of trust in the guy beside you, and you know, with so many cars out there, and this is only 1.2 miles track, so there's really not much room for error at all. So yeah, it was a good race.
Difficult start for things for you in race one. You must felt, as you said, on pole position there, that you needed to deliver something from that third race this afternoon.
It's very frustrating to start the weekend on the back foot, and not only that, but then I start race two at the back of the grid. So you know, this championship is so competitive now. You need to finish every race, get some points, and that's going to put you in a good position at the end of the season. So I think I've redeemed myself in that race. And
Matt, you might have felt you were on for victory in that first race. It wasn't to be. How would you sum up the start you've made in the championship?
Yeah, I think it's been good. Obviously, we had a really good qualifying on Saturday. We put it on pole position, which was a great result for the team and the sponsor Accident Exchange. It was you know, it was a fantastic start to the weekend. Race one didn't quite fall our way. We got the lead over Fabrizio, and then the rain came, and I'm sure Colin will vouch for it. But rear wheel drive in the rain is...
Well, you made a great start on behalf of the championship, because that was racing of the absolute highest quality. Well done, fellas. Congratulations on the win, Colin. And let's get more reaction now from Matt Neal, I believe, who's with Janie.
He certainly is, with a well-deserved podium. Well done. I gather that was a very clean, fair, but very Matt Neal move.
Aren't I always clean? Oh, I suppose not. If you talk to other people. No, I could see Mike was struggling a little bit up into Clearways, just through the kidney up into Clearways. It was my one chance, so yeah, I know the car pretty well. So if I could just get my nose along the inside, we could have a chance, and it worked.
I've got to pick you up on that. You know the car pretty well. Explain why?
It was my championship-winning car from a couple of years back, and Jordan's put it to pretty good use, and it's a tough customer to get past with either of them. So yeah, it was very satisfying.
So moving on then to Rockingham, how are you going to approach the next round? Have you got particular changes to the car, or a different way that you're going to approach it?
Well, obviously the successful people this weekend are carrying a lot of weight into qualifying for Rockingham. So I'm one of the unfortunate ones who's not carrying the weight. So we'll be light in qualifying, and I'm looking forward to it. It's 2 weeks' time. I'm learning the Vectra all the time. It's very different to the Honda I've been used to. So yeah, bring it on.
Okay, thank you.